This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1665, Better Call Sal. And welcome to the show. I'm Brian Chrisman.
I'm Shane Kelly.
And I'm Adam Murda.
And yes, once again, we're going to talk to our good friend Sal Abernathy, a.k.a. Uncle Sal, a.k.a. Alex Ross Pitchman. 2.5 hours of gloriousness. Yeah. Now, you're going to hear a lot of familiar things if you've listened over the years. I've recognized so many topics he hit on and things, but it's still good. You're going to hear us laughing a lot. Of course, earmuffs.
Yeah, definitely earmuffs.
NSFW.
Yes. But without further ado, here's Sal.
Hello.
Hey, Sal.
Hans, how are you?
Very good. You ready to join us?
Whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
Where we've started already, and as long as we sound good to you and you sound good to us, we'll jump into it.
You sound good, man.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, again, I am here in the studio. We have Shane. Say hello, Shane.
Hello, Sal.
You're supposed to say hello, Shane.
Hello, Shane.
Shane, how are you?
All right, how are you?
All right, man. How are they treating you over there? All right?
Oh, well, he kicks me in the balls every now and then, but otherwise good.
Well, you're not. You don't know you're alive if you don't get kicked in the nuts at least 3 times a day, which is what happens to me. You know?
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, we also have Adam in the studio as well.
Yep, I'm here also as well, too.
Adam, how you been, man?
Oh, been keeping on, Sal.
You staying out of trouble?
Always.
He does a really good job of that.
Yep, haven't yet learned how to get into it, actually.
I get all these jackals asking me why I never go on the show anymore. Like I did something wrong. I'm like, guys, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Just tell him you're in the doghouse.
I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything. I don't know anything. I literally know less than nothing. So I said, guys, if they call me, they call me. If they don't call me, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, we'd have you on every show if we could, but have to talk some other things every now and then.
Yeah, once or twice a year, right? Isn't that the kind of the norm?
Yeah, it's time for your 6-month checkup.
Yeah.
So turn your head and cough.
Yeah.
Usually before San Diego or before New York, something like that.
Yeah, because right now we're sort of in between. You just got back from San Diego and you're going to New York again this year. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, this year is the first year we're going to do. We're going to set up the Alex Ross booth, the one we set up at San Diego at New York.
Oh, the 2-story love nest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're pretty excited. It's the first year. It was we did New York for about 10 years, but it was just kind of a regular con. And then I mean it was a good con, but it was just kind of another East Coast Midwest con. And then about 5 years ago, it turned into a monster. And so we set up there last year a little something smaller. We kind of did something in partnership with another gallery, and we checked it out. And it's crazy, man. It's a monster. So we said, we talked with Reed, and we were able to work something out, and they got us a good spot. And so we're going to bring the Alex Ross Love Nest to New York.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, good.
It's a fantastic booth.
Thank you. It's a lot more work than it used to be. It's like the helicarrier now.
Yeah. Wow.
It's a major pain in the ass. It's just a lot more work.
But it'll be good to see you again, because actually last time Adam and I saw you was in New York. We were hoping to see you at the Alex Ross signing in Virginia, and we also were hoping to see you in C2E2, but we didn't see either of those places, so good to catch up again in New York this year.
Yeah, the problem is it's like, you plan on doing these things, and then family stuff kind of gets in the way every once in a while. And it's the only part of my life where I have absolutely no cachet at all.
Yep.
So if you want to stay married, you got to just shut the fuck up and go. Otherwise, I can't tell my wife I'm going to cancel a vacation because I got to go, to a signing or something like that. So it gets me in trouble if, especially with the kids because,
Yep.
My daughter is like a wrestling villain at this point. You know, she's
So rudo.
yeah, she's pretty bad. She's like one of those really bad 70s wrestling villains. You know, Baron von Raschke or Moose Cholak or somebody like that. Because you know, my son is a sweetheart. He's the nicest kid, and my daughter is she's turned into fucking Calabac as I've gotten older now, and he's 6 years old and just an absolute, just big barda. I mean, it's unbelievable what this kid. She talks shit to me every chance she gets. she just, there's no filter at 6. She's just like, oh, you're fat, you know, and you know, Daddy, you can't do that. You're fat and you smell, and you're like, okay, thanks.
Yeah, that my boys are now 13 and almost 16. That doesn't change. There's still no filter.
No, I don't even bother. You know, with my daughter, I don't even try anymore. She's like the Red Skull. So I just kind of you learn to live with it and hope that you can kind of pick your spots and survive it. But hey, what are you going to do?
My oldest one's in sports, and he goes to training classes and different things when he's not in season for playing soccer or something. And I tell him, when you tell me that I'm fat or something, that's why I tell you have to go to the gym. Here's what you don't want to turn into. So in order to not do this, you keep doing what you're doing. Then I get the roll of the eyes.
I just basically, you know, with my kids, it's like you don't have. I have like, you know, they talk shit about me in front of me, so I don't really have any much to say about anything. You know, my daughter just it's like I said, she'll just say, oh, you can't do that, you're fat, or she'll just say, oh, you know, your breath smells really bad, or
yeah.
You know, she loves to come out of the bathroom and just go, oh my God, you know. It smells like Daddy in there. So I have become the official scent for shit is Sal. You know, it's Daddy. She just refers to any shit smell as it smells like my dad. So I don't pretend to you know, have any control over my life anymore. So, you know, it becomes one of those, I'm that crazy old guy.
Yeah.
Basically, they roll their eyes and they just you know. I look forward to the age when I can just bribe them, because I'll have no shame about just buying them off. Because my daughter is already like a teenster anyway, so there's no point in even bothering. You just say, here you go, and you know, you just bribe her to leave me the fuck alone. And when I get older, they'll just let me lie in my own shit. I know that. I have no delusions about them ever wanting to take care of me as an old guy. I'll just, you know, my daughter will be like Hannibal, so it's no problem.
Now here's something that's something very unexpected that my boys still do. Every Tuesday for the last year when The Flash was on, my oldest one, as much as he rolls his eyes at me, would call me down to watch Flash with me every week. And both of them still, no matter what is going on, no matter if we've had an argument or some father-son dispute, they still call me to tuck them in at night before they go to bed. It blows me away. Screaming at each other an hour before. You see, my kids pull the old, because every night that you put your kids to bed in my house is like the first night they've ever gone to bed ever. They have no fucking reference point of, yes, you actually have to close your eyes and rest at some point, because they just look at you like, I don't understand what this is. Why do we got to go to bed, or what's bad, or why do you get to stay up, or we don't get to stay up? And it turns into a fucking UN meeting. Life isn't fair. You know, you're fat and you sit in front of the TV, but I got to go to bed. Why does this happen? And it just becomes one big fucking filibuster, you know, in my house about why they don't have to go to bed. And I don't even argue anymore. I go, look, when you get older, you can be mean and do whatever the fuck you want. But right now, go to bed. I don't know what else to say about go to bed. And then they come down, my daughter will come down with Meryl Streep, you know, Sophie's Choice performances about why she can't sleep, and she saw something on the wall, or she's throwing up, or she has a fever. She doesn't know what a fever is. She just hears words, you know, and I have her, or I have something, there's something under my bed. It's just all bullshit. It's all bullshit.
The academy.
And I just say, look, I don't know what to tell you, other than just go to bed. Well, I'm going to tell the whole world you're mean and you're a terrible father. Well, go ahead. They already know. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I really don't. I'm like, just put it in writing, sign it, give it to me. I'll sign it, hand it in at the school, let them come and do what they got to do. They can come and arrest me. I wouldn't give a shit. I don't care anymore.
So
I have nothing to say.
Are the kids back in school yet? Are they getting close to going back to school soon?
Next week.
Next week. Wow.
Yes, next week. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm basically like the guy at the end of Midnight Express when he walks out of the Turkish prison next week when they go back to school. I'm like when they told Odie, is that look on his face when I drop, I am shocked that like you're going to take these two kids now for like till next year. I can't believe it. I'm in shock. I still can't fucking believe it. I can't believe that I have the freedom. I'm just, you hear squealing tires. And some parents are crying and throwing themselves on the, no. None of that shit. None of it. I'm like, goodbye. Yeah, but don't you, nope, I'm done. It's the party's over. I flick the lights like when I'm a bartender. It's time. It's closing time. You got to get out now. Get out. Go to school.
And I'm looking forward to the picture he's going to post of Andy Dufresne from the Shawshank Redemption looking up on the sky with the rain coming down.
I do look forward to that.
Yeah. I tear my shirt off and I look at the sky and I just swam through a pipe full of shit to get there. But I'm very excited when they go back to school. I'm tremendously fucking excited. I mean, now how people say excited, No, I'm talking just pure euphoria. It's almost like when you walked in and thought it was a substitute teacher. That for a year is how I feel when they go back to school. That for a year. It's like Cindy Crawford calls me up every night. You got to come over. I need to get wildly fucked. I go, no, Cindy, I got to take the kids to school. That's what I would trade. No problem. Kids got to go to school. I can't take it anymore. I mean, I reached the point of I can't take it anymore. I'm like Tom Hanks on the island talking to the fucking volleyball. I don't give a shit.
Wilson.
And then people, but I love, and I get the speeches from everybody in my family. Oh my God, Sal, why do you talk like that? There's always the big pauses, Sal, when they get older, you're going to just look back. I'm going, no, I'm not. No, I won't. I won't look back because they just beaten out. I'm like that kid they sent out in 300 to go kill before he can come back. That's me. I got to go out and kill a wolf with my bare hands. To stop, because my mother would just, there was consequences when I was a kid. My mother would just tell you she was going to beat the shit out of you, or she would ask you she was going to beat the shit kicked out of you. And then you thought about it, and you go, no. But you knew that it could happen. It was a real, there was a real possibility there with my mom, mustache and all. and my daughter inherited, she's a mini version of my mother. Mustache, everything, the fucking knitting needle in the hair. And the rolling pin and the whole 9 yards. And my son could not be the nicer kid. I thought the boys were the problems. I thought that, you hear about the son is going to drive you crazy. And, I expected my son to be Charles Bronson, just a pain in the ass and hot wiring cars and, My kid is the nicest guy. He's like Vision. He doesn't even talk. He just stands in the corner and nods a lot. My daughter, forget it. I mean, it's like fucking Madam Hydra, my kid. You cut off one arm and two replace it with my daughter.
So,
I can't take her to the grocery store, my daughter. That's how they got her picture by the door. Don't let this kid in. Don't let her in. Don't let her in. They got her face on milk cartons that say warning. It's like one of those, it's just like fucking, like toxic shit. You can't throw it in the same garbage can with other garbage. That's my daughter.
Do not approach. Stay at a safe distance.
Do not approach. Yes. No, absolutely not. I mean, there's nothing that this kid is just like, forget it. There's not a thing about it. You go to the zoo, animals say, fuck this. It's like when you go in the Omen, when the baboons go crazy. I take my kid to the zoo, the fucking baboons all like go psycho. Why? Horses, like rile up. The rhinos go inside. The lions go, fuck this. Get me away from this kid. I don't want to have anything to do with it. She gets caught shoplifting every year at Disney World. Every year. I got to tell her to bring the shit back. Every fucking year. We get back to the room. She's jingling. Like she's like a gypsy. You know what I mean? She's like a fucking gypsy. She opens up her coat, and there's just a whole slew of a Disney collection of all this shit she stole when you weren't watching. Yeah. The only kid to be physically kicked out of Disney World was my daughter, where they said, you got to get this kid out of here. You got to get her out of here. You can't have her here anymore. And I'm just kind of like, go bring the shit back. Go right now. Go. That guy right there. Go give it to him. And the other shit you got in the other pocket, give it to him too. And my wife's like, well, how do you know she has something in the other pocket? And I go, because I'm telling you, the first one is a decoy. She lets us find the decoy.
Yeah. The good stuff's in the other one.
She hides the real shit.
And your wife is the forensic
first one
scientist.
You're supposed to find the first one. It's like, she leaves phony trails. And I go give all that shit back. Give it all back, please. Every year. Hey, my wife's like, well, why are you raising your voice? I go, I'm not raising my voice. I'm the father of a kleptomaniac. It's like Teen Wolf. There's nothing I can do here. Someone somewhere in the universe is having they're having revenge on me at a biblical level. I'm telling you, it is revenge for me being a son of a bitch my whole life. That has all come back, and it's karma. I'm telling you that my daughter is it's revenge. For anybody that I ever pissed off, just send my daughter a thank you note, because she's getting revenge for you in spades. She asks me to come on field trips with her. Okay, this is my favorite bullshit line of the year. Listen, Daddy, they need a chaperone. Will you be the chaperone? Yeah, me and a bunch of Japanese ladies. That's a lot of fun. So, me like a stupid ass, I fall for this shit. I go, okay, well, how does this work? Do I drive you there, or do I ride on the bus? He goes, no, you can't ride on the school bus with us, Daddy. They don't let fat people ride on the school bus. You're too fat to ride on the bus.
Think of how many...
So now I gotta it's like lancing a boil on your ass with a hot pin every day when this girl asks me a question. Why don't you want to go on any of the field trips? I'm like, field trips? It's like going alligator hunting in the Everglades. Tells me how to drive. 6 years old. Why are you going this way? I wouldn't go this way. I'd go the other way. Why are you going so slow? God, everybody's going fast. Listen, why don't you look out the window? And then I go, why am I arguing with a 6-year-old? What is this? What am I doing here?
Well,
I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay.
I apologize. I'm sorry.
Well, are you kidding me? It makes me feel like I'm not crazy.
You're crazy. Oh, they do it to us. I mean, it's
true.
Like anybody who says, I love when I see those Gerber commercials or the shit for Pampers or all that bullshit. That's all bullshit. That's all propaganda to sell products. My house is like, I'm telling you, my house is like 300. It is the 300 where the guy blows the horn and then all the guys come running. That's my house. Every morning at 6:00. Give them nothing, but take from them everything. That's my kids every morning when I gotta come down for breakfast.
Sometimes they'll say something like, "You look so tired. What's wrong? You're cranky." I'm like, "You."
Right. Yes. Right. Or they ask you, well, what's on your mind? It's like, you don't want to know. If I told you what was on my mind, you wouldn't be here. You know, I fantasize about being in, like the fucking Terminator, where I can go back in time and not go to the party where I met my wife. That's what's on my mind. Is that too deep for him? You know, I mean, but that's what I think about. I wonder if I could do that shit where I go through naked, you know, and I wind up in a parking lot naked somewhere, and I go and I fuck with Sal before he goes to that party. You know, is that possible? You think I could call James Cameron and tell him that I'll be the first, you know, experiment to go through a time machine naked, you know? And come out the other side so that I don't have to have my kids, you know, kill me in the end, you know. And he'll probably go, "No, you're fucked up." And I'll be like, "Well, you don't have kids, do you, Cameron?" He'll be like, "No." I'll go, "Okay, well, then you don't understand." Because every father I know is working on building a time machine. I know I work on it every other day in my basement. You know, you might say, "What the fuck is Sal working on?" Time machine. I only need to go back like 13 years, as long as I've been married. That's as far as back I need to go. That's all. I don't need anything like Back to the Future
no
and
high power
and bullshit. Nothing like that. No bullshit with the DeLoreans. I just need to go back and stop me from going to a party. That's all I need.
But you managed to escape a little while from your family, and you go out to Comic-Con not too long. So how was San Diego for you this year?
I don't know, man. Comic-Con has become. It's not. I mean, I got to be honest. It's not the fun it used to be. You know, for me, because it just with the big booth now, there's so much more prep, and you know, it takes us. We got to start setup now on Monday. And you know, it takes us that whole 3 days to put the booth up, and you got a lot more Teamsters to wrangle but it seems to they did a great job, man. They had a noticeably higher security for obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. The Marvel booth got a little. They could have done. For the most part, everything was great. Don't get me wrong, but they could have done a little bit of better job. They had the Thor Ragnarok signing, and it got a little ugly. You know, it got way too crowded, and there was a lot of pushing and shoving. But otherwise, no complaints. It's a Comic-Con is Comic-Con. I mean, you don't miss anything if you don't go, if you've been in the past, but it's pretty much the same show. Every got a different agenda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, I mean, it's good. It's just all, whatever the flavor is that year, whatever movies they're pimping. And that's why it's nice to do New York, because New York is New York. And then, San Diego's more of a Hollywood kind of an agenda. And New York is more of, the media capital of the world. So you've got a lot of companies that don't want to invest a lot of money in a summer. If they've got a fall kind of release date, they want to invest it in the fall instead of the summer. So it's two very different shows. But we're excited about New York.
Very cool. Yeah, I saw. As I was watching on Facebook on preview night, and somebody was at your booth taking a live video, walking around, and they're walking around. And then I started hearing this voice talking about like goldfish. Oh, there's Sal. He's got his nice suit and tie on.
Yeah, that's my replicant dummy. I use like robots that look like me to kind of
life model
walk around and
Sal MD.
Yeah, walk around and exactly walk in 5 different directions, and 9 of them get killed. And one of them actually makes it. But yeah, we started. This year we were a little more ambitious. We did we launched the Alex Ross Art, the YouTube channel, and we started doing more videos and more Alex Ross Art is kind of we turned it into because we signed these licensing deals with Disney and Marvel and Warner Brothers and Universal Monsters. So it's the good news is there's a lot more projects. The bad news is there's just a lot more irons in the fire. That the stuff gets cut up like a paper doll now. So you're making more money, but you're spending out a lot more money. So it always evens out. Before you actually see a profit, there's a lot of licensing, fees that you have to pay, and you got to kind of, if you're doing everything above board, you got to pay everybody.
Yeah.
So
now these projects expanding into these different licenses, is this stuff that Alex wanted to go after? That he's always wanted to try some of these things?
Well, we did the art thing. I mean, I've been working with Alex now. God help me, 20 years.
Wow.
18 years. I started 18 years. He asked Apollo Creed, "Would Rocky? Would you fight Apollo Creed?" And I said no. And then I realized I wasn't doing much other than bartending, and I thought, why not? And so, but the art thing was nice. Selling originals and being Alex's business manager was nice, but I just kind of felt we took it as far as we could take it in terms of a company. And Alex was always a tremendously ambitious guy when it came to the licenses. I mean, all the way back to the Warner Brothers stores. You remember the Warner Brothers stores. He always created just a ton of products for them just because they were bucket list items for him. He really wasn't motivated by, just giving them the flavor of the month. He always wanted to do more. And so, last 2 years ago, he really got just fed up with it. He just thought that, you know what, they're not going to listen to this is the licensors, the Marvel licensor and the people that had the Marvel license and the Warner license and they just didn't really want to listen to a lot of his ideas. And he got kind of burnt. And he told me, he's like, I don't want to do it anymore if they're not going to let me, explore. You've got a Warner Brothers license, and they want him to keep doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Give us another Batman over Gotham, give us another Superman. He's like, hey, look, there's thousands of characters in the Warner Brothers, in the DC universe. Why can't we try other things, New Gods and Swamp Thing, And I said, well, let's, I dare I say it, I said, let's explore, maybe going into licensing. And Alex has always been motivated by the projects. He wants to do cool stuff. And Universal Monsters was a bucket list item of his. He's like, I've always wanted to do Universal Monsters. I don't know if anybody cares anymore. But I said, well, the hell with it. I mean, for the hell with that. I mean, let's not let that stop you. Let's see if we can do it. Let's see if it's, So we approached Universal, and they were, very cool about it. And so we were off and running. I mean, that's the good news. The bad news is then you've got to produce the product. You got to get it okayed. There's a whole, shitload of red tape.
Yeah.
You've got to get everything vetted. You've got to get everything approved and, blah, blah, blah. But we'll see, guys. It's only been a year that we've been doing it, and I've had kind of with new businesses, it takes a couple of years. To really get your sea legs. So there's some things we could do much better. There's some things that have been great, but I think we could do a lot better. To be honest with you.
Okay. Well, it all looks spectacular from what I've seen.
Yeah, he's a machine. He really is. I mean, anybody that that people that want to be the next Alex Ross, all I could tell you is, man, he's a machine. I mean, he does not stop. He's He's the Terminator.
Yeah, because Adam and I went down to his signing in Virginia at the Museum of the Shenandoah Valley, I guess it was, and they had an exhibit there. And it was just a really cool exhibit. You saw so much of his work, his early work.
Yep, his juvenilia.
Yeah, like he made these dolls, and just seeing rough sketches and some tremendous artwork for, like you mentioned, other things other than just superheroes.
All the Beatles stuff was there.
Yeah,
some Monty Python artwork.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like I said. I told him, when we talked, and I could see he kind of hit a point, about 2 years ago, where he seemed a little bit kind of fried from a lot of things that he just didn't seem that they weren't responding to. So I said, well, look, man, you've been in the game a long time. Why don't we try to just, what do you want to do? Let's do some stuff that, your bucket list stuff. And he wanted, the Beatles came along. We were lucky enough to get a good, to get the license from Apple Records, and that stuff was great. And he's a huge Beatles fan. I said, let's try some other things, the Beatles and Monty Python and Flash Gordon, of course, and Universal Monsters. So that's where the best stuff comes from, man, is when you're doing stuff you love and you're doing stuff that really gets your creative juices flowing. And that's kind of was the motivation behind a lot of the licensing. And again, not all of it is gonna be gold, because, there's certain things that fan base wants, and then there's other things that the fan base, isn't necessarily ready to jump on. The Beatles were a huge risk because it's the baby boomers. It's not our core of comic people. Yeah. So, but we thought, hey, why not try it? Same with Monty Python. It's difficult when you say you want to try to approach a different, audience, and your fan, you don't want to give your fan base the idea that you're turning your back on them. Mm-hmm. So.
But at least those projects, Beatles, Monty Python, and the Universal Monsters, they all have huge followings. It may not be your normal customers, but like you said, a couple years getting the word out and getting the projects out there.
Yeah, well, and it's also important to, when you're setting up the booth and you're trying to kind of create I wanted to kind of step back and create more of a gallery feel, to have it just be more about the art. To have it, sometimes you need to create art, for art's sake. Do things that are not, that'll do things that are off the beaten path and try new stuff. So there's some risks involved. There's some, because again, you can't do these projects without getting approvals and paying people and licenses and all that. So, and plus it keeps you going. It keeps your creative juices flowing.
Yeah. Some of the stuff that I see online when Pants and Adam went to the signing, and they said about seeing his early work as a kid and everything, I show that stuff to my oldest boy, who has some amount of artistic ability in him, and I say, look, this is what Alex started at. This is things he was doing at your age. And I said, if you're even remotely serious about any kind of art, in all, you got to do it every day. Just something. Doesn't matter what. Just draw something. You got to keep at it and want to do it and enjoy it in order to do anything with it, going past just a couple sketches and being happy with that.
Yeah, you're right. But it also it has to be in your blood, man.
Yeah.
You got to love it, and if you love it, then that's 99% of the battle, is just to draw because you love to draw, and to just fill up sketchbooks and don't worry about the outcome or who's going to see them or where they're going to go or things like that. You have to just draw. Yep. And Alex was obsessed with it at a young age, but he stuck with it. But you could definitely see the evolution of his work from when he was a kid to even when I met him, to Marvels and Kingdom Come and that stuff. I mean, but he, like I said, he's not like any artist I've ever met. From the point of view, he's just a machine, man. That's all he wants to do is paint. And it's like an obsession with him of, wanting to continue to do new stuff. And he's always, worried that the stuff might look tired or people might, think he's going to the well on certain things. But, it's not all going to be perfect. But in the end, if your kid wants to be an artist, it's a lot of times you have to be an artist. You got to have that creative outlet. Mm-hmm. You don't really have a choice to be an artist or a musician or a writer. It's something you have to do.
Yeah.
And it's important to have some kind of a outlet for your creativity if you're a creative person, because it's a different part of the brain.
Sure.
And now
mine just talks about Jaghouse, and his is about painting.
But I mean, you still do. I still see you post pretty much like almost every day. You have a sketch of the day. You're still out there getting your artwork out there as well.
Well, a lot of that. Yeah. Well, again, a lot of that is I have to draw. If I don't draw, it's a creative. You get some levels of it's a chemical thing. You get certain degrees of mood swings and depressions and different things that if you don't have that creative outlet, you don't even realize it. You start drawing just because you want to be creative. And then as you get older, you realize that that's where the rewards of your work are just being able to sit down and create. And when it's harder for me now because I'm trying to juggle more stuff. As you get older, your options kind of get narrower because you got jobs and families and mortgages and sweethearts and bullshit and things you need to filter out that you don't have when you're younger. But in some ways, it's even more important to draw as you get older than it is when you're younger. Because when you're younger, all you're worried about is, beating off. When you're older, it's about, your job, your stress, your boss, your wife. There's a lot more bullshit.
Because I know you had.
So I tell guys
because you had a project you were working on for a while. Was it the Dagos on the Moon? Are you still
yeah.
working on that?
Well, I actually have a studio. I keep a studio outside of my house. I used to have my studio in my house, but it just got to be, like The Walking Dead around here. Every time I came down here to work, there's just hands coming under the door and butter knives, and they're prying the fucking windows open, and they're crawling through the vents, and I just couldn't get any work done here, man. So I got a studio. And, my wife's like, well, why do you got to have a studio? I'm like, well, for cocaine and whores. What do you think I need a studio for? What the fuck do you think I need a studio for? I mean, these kids around here, I mean, come on. It's like the locusts every time I come down here. There's nowhere to hide. There's blood coming out of the walls when I come down here. So I go and I try to get there. I need, a place to go to work. And, yeah, I'm still working on a creator-owned project. I don't know when I'll be able to get it done because every time you got to get something done, and you got San Diego and New York and Luca and bills and aggravation and but it's still paramount in my life. It's still near and dear to my heart. It's if I could do just one thing, it would be just to draw. But that's not the world I live in.
Yeah.
There's what you want to do, and there's what you have to do.
Yep.
And most of my life is have to, And I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not on Oprah bitching, but it's just the way it is. When you have a family and you have responsibilities, that you have to kind of prioritize. So that's where Sketch of the Day comes from.
Cool. Now, when you announced that you were coming on the show, I got a couple of emails from people who they want to hear you talk about comics. So I wanted to talk to you since we're right in the middle of Jack Kirby's birthday month for his 100th birthday. Talk a little bit about Kirby because you're obviously a big fan. When did you first discover Jack Kirby?
Yeah, the weird thing about Kirby was I didn't really like Kirby, as a kid. I mean, at first. Because I was introduced to comics through John Buscema. Buscema was my guy. Buscema and Romita were how I kind of was introduced to comics, was through Thor when Buscema did it, where everything was majestic and I remember when I got sick, I had the mumps. The measles, I had the mumps. And I had a real bad fever and I was sick, and my mom sent my sisters to the store to get comics. They're like, go get your brother some comics. So my sisters didn't want to spend all the money at the comics at the drugstore. So they bought used comics at the secondhand shop that was in our neighborhood. This is how smart they were. So they brought home comics, and I was a Marvel guy. I hated DC. So they brought home these old comics, all bratty and beat up, and Brave and the Bold, or stuff like that. And they brought home New Gods. One of them was New God with the Hunger Dogs, and that was it. I never ever looked back. I mean, it was the minute I read, New Gods, I knew what I want. It was almost like I knew what I wanted to do with the rest of my life right when I read it, because I'd never seen anything that was like that represented such a product of a guy's imagination as much as New Gods that Kirby did. And it just had this tremendous impact where I couldn't get enough of Kirby. And I was obsessed with this guy was just, to me, there was Kirby and there was everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Buscema. I loved Romita. I loved Gene Colan. I loved Neil Adams and even, Tuska and guys like that. But Kirby, to me, if I was going to send one guy to Mars to represent planet Earth, against the Martians, where they send their best representative and the loser's planet has to be enslaved for eternity, who are you going to send? Guys always want to argue with me. And I'm like, guys, who are you going to send? Alex Toth? Come on, guys. One guy. You're going to send Kirby. Because halfway to Mars, the Martians will fucking turn around and bring him back and go, forget it. Because the guy designed their spaceship, probably. He probably said, fuck it. The ship we're on, he designed it. I mean, where would we be in comics without Jack Kirby?
Yep.
Where would the Marvel Universe be? And people look at the stuff he did at DC as an afterthought, but look at what he created in the Fourth World and the Demon and Commandy. And, it's just... There's never. He's a true American. Comics are a true American art form, which don't get enough credit for being a true American invention. And no disrespect to any of the other guys, because Lord knows there's a lot of great artists, but there really is Kirby and everybody else. In my opinion, and I know some people will argue with that. They think. I actually have read some things where people say he's overrated, and I laugh because I think, oh my God, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because we're doing some episodes. I'll say we're doing some episodes on Jack Kirby, and I'm learning things I didn't know, and it's just amazing the length and breadth of his work and how influential he's been, and just some of the things he's done that were never thought of before in comics. It's just amazing to find out about all this stuff.
Well, and again, it's comics, which is what some people would argue is or isn't the definition of comics, but comics, because you see my style of drawing, not that I'm in any way comparing myself to Kirby, but my style is a blessing and a curse because it is a product of my imagination. I couldn't draw like the great illustrators. I couldn't draw like Neil Adams or John Romita, who were just these superb draftsmen. I could only draw one way, and it was because it was a product of my imagination. That's what I stole from Kirby. It's to draw what's in your head. And that doesn't always work out because people, see my work and think I'm doing heroin. But it is what it is. I mean, that's what I learned from Kirby is just make it up. If Kirby drew a fucking toaster, it was 2 pages long. I mean, this is a guy, when he was at DC, was drawing 5 issues a month. I mean, that's superhuman.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 issues a month. I mean, do you know what that is? That's 22 times 5 a month of pages. I mean, that's superhuman.
Yeah, again,
you look at what he created when he was at Marvel, and what his run on Thor, and his run on FF, and the Silver Surfer. I mean, it goes on and on. There's not enough you can say about the man.
And all of those pages that he did, all of those books with all that detail on all the background stuff, all the Kirby stuff that he threw in there is just amazing.
Yeah. No, there's Kirby and there's everybody else. That's all you really need to. If you're going to tell a person who's not into comics, one guy who's like the definitive, the Michelangelo of comics, it's Kirby. And again, people will argue with you, but what about, and what about? No, it's apples and oranges to a certain degree, but when you're talking about from a creator's point of view, an artist's point of view, a designer's point of view, he's created some of the greatest characters, not only, the look of, the characters themselves, but just the design of them. The Celestials and Doc Doom and the design of those characters is timeless. A lot of them. But you can't make those outfits any better. That's why every time they change them, they always inevitably come back to what they used to look like. Black Bolt. I mean, there's no cooler costume than Black Bolt. Or the Celestials. I mean, what kind of a crazy bastard came up with the Celestials? I mean, look at the design. Look at your Marvel handbook. The design of the Celestials. Of those costumes, of those outfits. That's something from another planet. Honest to God. Forget about whether the Martians invented, created the pyramids. I mean, Kirby was from another planet.
Now, I think I might have. Go ahead, Sal.
No, that's my 2 cents.
Well, I thought I asked this before, but do you actually, because you're a big art guy and art, do you actually have any Jack Kirby artwork you own?
Yeah, I started buying art little bit. I'm not a player like a lot of guys I know that are really, really tremendous art collections. I started buying here and there, when I started going to cons long time ago, pre-internet, so you could buy a Kirby page, in the 90s, for $100.
Wow.
You could buy, stuff for $150. It wasn't like, I bought my first page from Ernie Chan for like $20. You could still buy stuff in Artist Alley from the artist. So yeah, I've picked up over the years. I've got a nice run of Black Panther pages, Kirby Black Panther pages, and some Buscema, Conan, and I've got a few Kirby Silver Surfer pages. Some things I've picked up over the years, but not to sell. I only buy stuff to keep it in my office that inspires me, stuff that I like to. But my favorite pieces are, the Third Eye black light posters from the 70s. The ones I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
I mean, those I had in my bedroom as a kid, and those are ones that when I found them on eBay about 10 years ago, I had them framed up, the Kirby Captain America one, and the Medusa, and the Black Bolt, and those are in my office. Those are the pieces that if there was a fire, I would grab, because I look at those every day, because it reminds me of a time when you read comics for the sheer love of reading comics. Yeah. You didn't worry about, whether it was realistic or not, or whether, that could never happen, or does the guy have a patch, or, it didn't matter. I've got some stuff.
I would love to see some pictures of your studio sometime, because I don't think I've knew all this stuff. I mean, this is all in your studio, all these things? Like a video or something, like a tour of your studio?
Some of it, yeah, some of it. I've got a couple of, I've got a few Alex Ross pieces, that have fallen off a truck over the years, No, he used to
give them away. Yeah.
He used to every year for like a birthday or a holiday or something, he would say he would just have me name a character, and then I would name a character, and then he would do something for me, and then that's where he did a great blue cage for me, which I think you guys have seen, where he's screaming and making a fist, and a demon, a great demon piece, and some stuff that Alex has given me over the years. But no offense to Alex, my prized possessions are just stuff that I grew up with. Stuff that I know you're a big art collector, Pants, but I tend to gravitate towards stuff that I really like. I don't buy it to sell it. I buy it just to kind of frame it and keep it around and remind me of why the stuff is cool.
Well, someday I got to take a tour of your place. I got to get out to Chicago.
I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll send you some pictures. I just gotta. You got to promise to Photoshop out my collection of Busty and things like that. my collection of Ooey. Which we never realized until we were older that it was we. Who knows French? Who the fuck knows French when you're a kid? We used to call it Ooey. We used to say, "Hey, got that new collection of Ooey." And finally, one day when I was about 30. Somebody said, that's we, right? It's a French word for yes. And I'm like, I don't know. You're fucking 12 years old. You say ooey, because it's just O-U-I. What the fuck do I know? Like people are they're gonna say, oh, you're not speaking French correctly. I went to public schools, man. I'm lucky I speak English. I'm not worried about speaking French. And besides, you're not supposed to know how to pronounce the title of a porno magazine when you're 12, unless you're some of the assholes I know and you're reading, Pancho and Blue Boy and shit like that, which is what Tiziano reads. But hey, everybody's got their hobbies. I don't judge, Pants. I don't judge at all.
I was waiting for a Tiziano cut, and there it is.
I don't. No, let me tell you something. We expanded the Bill Sienkiewicz booth this year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was gorgeous.
to do more of a gallery style because I really felt that Bill deserved a showcase for his work, and we really kicked it in the ass this year. And Tiziano was running it for me, and he did a bang up job, and he did a great job. He was awesome. He was, babysitting Bill Sienkiewicz is that's not
no small feat.
That's not an easy thing. Bill is a kindred spirit, man. He's a force of nature, that guy. So it worked out great, and again, Tiz and Lauren did a tremendous job over there.
There's a great picture that I saw. It had to be on Facebook of you and Tiz all dressed up in your suits. Just a fun looking, great picture.
Yeah, Tiz is. We go back a long way now, him and I, and he had a rough year. Tiz, his father passed away, and he was very close to his father, obviously, and it was a rough year. And I really didn't want to ask him to San Diego if he felt he was not ready for that type of thing. But he was. He thought work was the best medicine, and he came out, and I'm telling you, he really kicked it in the ass. He did a great job, and
that's great.
And unfortunately, I got to put up with him now in Luca. But Luca, we're going to do the same thing. We're not bringing the big, Alex helicarrier, but we're going to try to expand and make the booth a little more ambitious in Luca because we're trying to do some licensing. To get some of the licensed stuff in Europe, and it's not going to be easy, but we're going to give it a shot out there, and we're hoping that we come back and we still have a Hyman left, because that was Tiz's handle for a while when he was on AOL. It was Buster Hyman, and he had to give it up because somebody gave him a lot of money. They bought it from him. So back when he had an AOL account, it was, so. But you guys are going to be in New York then, right? Or no?
Well, I'm planning on going up. That's my plan. I don't know anybody else here.
I already know I can't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think I can either. That's
more fun for me then.
Yeah,
that's the spirit.
Well, it's going to be a real interesting year. I got to tell you because I don't know, man. Last year was just something to behold how crowded it's gotten, and that's a good thing. But it really gets crowded, and I mean crowded to the point where it's 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag at the Javits. It's really crowded.
Yeah,
it is. It's crazy.
Plus, they have, I guess they knocked down that one Artist Alley section, so there's...
Yeah, they're
construction.
forever. Well, first of all, that whole Hudson Yards area, I don't know if you've been there in the last couple of years, but my God, that entire 10th Avenue area by the Javits is just a sea of construction now, of all these new buildings and all this. They've developed that area like tenfold, honest to God. And it's just becoming... It used to just be all the livery of New York, where they would park the cabs and the cars, and it goes all the way back to when there was, the horses, where they used to park the horses at the turn of the century. So 10th Avenue was always just kind of an afterthought of Hell's Kitchen. And then they put the Javits there, but then when they expanded in there and the train line to go there, that it's just the construction just exploded. So it used to be kind of a 10th Avenue was a rough walk from 10th to get to, where you could actually get a cab. But now it's just, my God, you walk west to go down to the meatpacking district or whatever, and it's just nothing but hotels and restaurants, and it's become, but to get back what you were saying, Pants, yeah, they knocked that back building down where Artist Alley was, and they said they're putting them downstairs, and that's going to mean there's going to have to be some casualties. There's going to be less tables for Artist Alley. But Reed, I got to tell you, all bullshit aside, Reed does a great job. Reed doesn't play games. They are a world-class organization, man. But that's the good news. The bad news is that so many people want to go to this show. There's just not enough room.
Yeah.
And they keep letting them in to the point where you can't even move, man. It's so crowded.
Yeah, well, this year they're even limiting the everything's like there's no 3 and 4 day. It's like 1 day passes, or they were only selling them as 1 day passes.
Really?
They try to everybody, Yeah.
Well, that you can look at that two ways. Reed will tell you that there's no full ride passes. You can't get a 4-day pass. You can only get individual day passes. Mm-hmm. From one point of view, that's a good thing because that gives more people, more individual visitors, a chance to go.
Right.
But if you want to go multiple days, it makes it harder.
Yeah.
So Reed can get more bodies in and also sell more tickets, but you're also giving more people a chance to actually get in. Because it used to be 4 days and you'd see the same guy 4 times. Now, that guy's got to just knock it out that day unless he's got multiple tickets.
Right.
But that's a full blown pig fuck, that show. It really is. You get your ass kicked at that show. There's no two ways about it. I mean, every part of it. I had to go shit in the tow lot because I couldn't get in the toilet, a couple of years ago. And just getting a cab, getting something to eat, getting a bathroom, getting an ATM. It's you got to show up and you got to be ready because it's just logistically the Javits is it's a minefield. Mm-hmm. I mean, and it's good from the sake of it being a big show, but as a visitor, it's and I've had a lot of clients complain, but hey, it's New York. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You want to, it's New York. You want to fuck the prom queen, you got to be ready. You know what I mean? It's either that or go to. And I tell guys, I go, guys, there's a con every weekend. My God, if New York is too much or too expensive, and it's. Let me tell you something from an exhibitor's point of view, it's triple what you pay at San Diego.
Wow.
It's triple. I mean, your union costs, your drayage, your labor costs. But it is what it is. It's New York.
Wow.
The unions are a lot tighter and a lot more expensive. Your shipping costs, you're getting stuff in, your electrical, your carpet, all that shit, man. It's a dry hole.
I can't imagine triple. That's insane.
Yeah, no, it's whatever you're going to spend at San Diego, it's triple. Wow. And then hotels are starting at $400 because it's fall, and everybody goes to New York in the fall because it's a time of the year, and the holiday stuff starts building up. And then you got to try to get you got cabs, you got restaurants, you got staff. It's at best for us guys, it's probably a break-even proposition.
Wow.
But you're doing it to try to build off of.
Sure.
You're really trying to get something going. But you gotta know going in, you're trying to get a foothold. We're trying to build something. But you can't do that level of show and not expect a world. You do a world-class show, that's the good news. The bad news is you got world-class invoices.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, putting your hand up Mona Lisa's skirt. Be careful what you ask for. Because you'll get it, and then somebody will try to take it away from you. Mm-hmm. As my mother used to say.
So how is your mother doing?
But I wish you guys could all go. Sally's good. Sally doesn't. If you say "Ma, how are you?" she just makes a noise now. Ma, how are you? She doesn't actually say good or bad. She communicates in sounds now. My mother,
okay,
which means don't bother me. Yeah, and my kid, she doesn't have the patience for she's 88,
wow.
So she went to high school with Christ, so she doesn't really want to know. She doesn't want to, she's got he signed her yearbook. the cover's made of bark, and she doesn't want to, she doesn't have the patience for kids bullshit, the way she did when I was, when my brothers and I were driving her nuts. So when we go over with the kids, she just kind of gives me that look like, I've had enough. Get them out of here. But she's good. My mother, you could throw her in a well and fill it with lead and come back in 100 years and she'll still be alive. So that's Sally. Sally she's like that mouse in The Green Mile. She's not going anywhere.
Well, that's good.
She calls me every once in a while and has some shit she sees on TV that she asks me, and she doesn't understand it. And I'm like, Ma, I don't know. And she's like, you talk to those people. Why don't you find out what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know, Ma. She still wants to know if I'm married to the Japanese. My wife, I'm still married to the Japanese. Because, your Uncle Mariano had to go in the jungle and get those people out. You know that, right? And I'm like, Ma, you got to let the war shit go. Anything after 50 years, you got to learn to let it go. But, we had to ration sugar, and that wasn't a nice thing. And I couldn't even buy ham. I'm like, Ma, are you going to go into the fucking ham thing again? You couldn't have ham. In the in the 40s, you couldn't have ham. And that has something to do with my wife. I don't know how it has something to do with my wife, but somehow my wife is connected to you not getting ham in the 40s. And I said, Ma, I don't know. You didn't get your ration coupons. My wife wasn't around to take your ration coupon.
I can just see you kind of standing in your office or kitchen or something with a phone, and she says something like that, and you just kind of roll your eyes, go, Ma.
Well, no, you don't even hear it anymore. You see, I told my wife before we got married, I said, listen, let me explain something to you. Now, and I mean this. People say crazy, okay? No. It's a very overused word, okay? I said, my mother's crazy, okay? Just so you know. I'm telling you going in. It's like I'm Len Talbot. I was bit by a werewolf. I have no control over that shit. So when you see this gypsy woman pull up in a wagon every once in a while, she knows that I'm turning into a werewolf. That's my mother. I have no control over the shit that she says. It makes no logic. It makes no sense. She just says shit, and and my mom's at the age now where you got to say everything 30 times, and she doesn't hear you, but what she says, what she thinks you just said, makes no fucking sense at all. You go, hey, Ma, how are you? How's who? I go, Hitler, Ma. How's who? You. How are you doing? What's going on over there? I don't know. What's going to go on over here? I'm 88 years old. Where the hell am I going? I got a boyfriend over here. I go, Ma, listen, I'm just trying to be nice. Oh, you're a son of a bitch. And then she just goes on from there. I'm watching TV. And then she'll just break off into something where she'll go, I'm watching TV. When did so many Chinese people get on television? There never used to be so many Chinese people on TV. And I go, Ma, I don't know why the fuck there's Chinese people on television. I have nothing to do with that. Yes, you do. Or she'll go, what is Alex doing? Is he still painting? I go, no, Ma, he's a welder. I go, what the fuck do you think he's doing? He wants to be a dancer at night, and he saw Flashdance, and he became a welder. Oh, is that what? And then everything is my in-laws' fault. Is that what the Japanese teach you? How to be a smart ass to your mother? The Japanese teach you how to be a smart ass? Is that what it is? I go, yeah, Ma. The Japanese taught me how to be a smart ass. Yes. How did you know? So that's Sally. That's when am I going to see you? I go, I don't know, Ma. I was thinking of coming by. No, there's too much traffic. Don't come. And I go, Ma, you just asked me to come over. Now I say I'm coming over. She's like, no, stay home and nag your wife. Don't come over here. I don't want you over here anyway.
Well, good to hear she's doing okay still.
My Ma is, My ma is Sally. You know, she was. I like to tell my wife Sally stories of when we were growing up because she was like Shelley Winters in the Poseidon Adventure. My mother growing up, so she was a piece of work. Yeah,
I just watched that movie.
She was. Yeah, and my mom was the lady you sent in, like when you know there was no hostage negotiator, like in Nighthawk. You know, when you got to take a guy out. Guess who you send in? You send my ma in because you know the guy doesn't have a chance. You know, as soon as my ma gets out of the bus, the guy just comes out with his hands up and says, "Oh, fuck this! I don't want to have anything to do with this lady." No, I don't want to. No. It's one of those. It's one of those where you turn the page, you know, in a comic book, and you go, "Oh shit, this is going to be a 2-issue villain right here." My mom was like a 3-issue villain. You know, where you had to go get guys to help you. Where it was like, I can't. You even go get villains to help you because another hero isn't going to do shit for you. You know, like you got to go get like the Surfer to help you or something to take on Sally. And then it just becomes Planet Sally. You got to put her on a rock and throw her into space because you're never going to beat her. You just go, oh, fuck this. You know, put her on an asteroid and just throw it into space, and she'll come back in 100 years, and we'll worry about it then. You know? But I wish she was a little younger, you know, to deal with my kids, because, you know, they're at the age where, you know, they still see her as their grandma, but, you know, there's only so much at 88.
Yeah.
You know, and my daughter, you know, just, God, it smells in here.
Yeah, there's that no filter again.
Smells like daddy.
None. God, Grandma's got food everywhere. Jeez. And I'm like, shut up. Will you shut up? You know? Because my son is like that. We go to Disney, and he's at the age where he's like fucking Oppenheimer. He's figured out that Goofy has a zipper on the back of his outfit, you know? He's like, hey, it's not real. That snow looks fake. And I'm just sitting there going, shut up, will you? You know, let your sister enjoy it for a couple more years. You know, please. You got to be the fucking smart ass all of a sudden. You know, you figured out Disney's a fake. Look who just caught up. You know, my 10-year-old son figured out it's fake. Why is it when I hug Donald Duck, there's a zipper on his back? I don't know. Ask your mother. The fuck do I know? I'm only paying for this shit. I don't have the explanations. I just paid for it. I'll tell you why he's got a zipper on his back. Because I'm paying a guy to be in a costume to distract you for 2 hours so I don't kill myself. That's why he's got a zipper on the back of his outfit. That's not real. I love when I hear that. I'm like, really? You know, my God, how did I get stuck with Reed Richards for a son? My God. No. And my daughter is more the basic ones. Like, which one of these houses does Walt Disney live in? I don't know. I don't know. They don't tell me anymore where I can't ring the doorbell and find Walt Disney. I don't know. You know, you when they're younger, you think you're going to have all these fancy explanations. Okay, you get that beaten out of you. Okay, now I just go, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Look out the window. You know. Have some more candy is the answer to it, because Disney World is just one form of violation after another. You know, it's psychological warfare. Physically, forget it. I mean, I don't know how much experience you guys have with Disney World, with kids and with families.
I was just there last year with.
But it is. How long were you guys there? Did you do the whole
10 days?
You know, walk around.
Yeah, we were there for 10 days.
10 days.
Yep.
Okay. So you've got the 1,000-mile stare.
Oh,
you
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. You're like a fucking Green Beret. You were like, you went into tunnels, and you're like Platoon when they light the shit on fire and they light their cigarette off the hut. That's what I'm at. My ass when I pull my underwear off, it's a screaming face made up of blood, piss, and shit. There's nothing left. You walk, pants, You walk until your ass bleeds. That's all I can tell you, because there's nothing left. You are on the surface of the sun, okay? And your ass, your sphincter, and your balls all fight each other for 10 hours of walking, of constant punching each other, okay? So when you take your underwear off, it's 3 6s. It's like Damien. It's something satanic. Your soul cries out from being at Disney World. And at 11 o'clock at night, your kids are jumping on the bed. Going, now what?
Yep.
What's next?
Is it closed? Do we have to go back? Next? Are we done? No.
Why are we
You're
done? A terrible father. Why do we have to leave? Because it's fucking 2 o'clock in the morning. That's why we got to leave.
The lights are still on.
Right, the lights are still on. And those assholes at the fireworks don't know when to stop. They just don't know when to stop.
Yep.
And I tell my wife, I hit a point where the engine light goes on, and it's blinking, and I go, we got to get out of here. We've been 13 hours of this, where then my kids start with the carry me shit. Where now I've become like, it's the end of the Civil War, and I'm the Confederate Army, and I'm trying to get out of there. And I'm walking out of Gettysburg, like carrying kids over my shoulders. And I'm like, why the fuck am I carrying grown-ups? These aren't little kids anymore. My son is like William Dafoe in Platoon, for Christ's sake, when I'm carrying him out of there.
Yeah.
And you're bow-legged and you're broke.
Ours look at us and they're like, the younger one, he was 11 at that time, and he said, carry me. And I looked at him like, you're walking. The rest of us got to walk, you're walking.
And then I don't know how you are with these rides, okay? But I've hit a point where I can only do certain rides now because I'm an old fucking guy, okay? And this water park shit where you drop 5 stories and you get shot out of a tube and whatever you know what I mean? It's like you drop 5 stories in the dark and get shot out of a tube. All right, this is what I get talked into doing from my kid. And my wife's like, "Oh no, you got to go with them because you're the father." And I'm like, "Listen, when I get to the bottom of this ride, there's all these parents with cameras taking pictures, and then one fat ass gets shot out of a tube, and they look at me and go, "Who's this asshole? What's he doing here?" And my wife's sitting over in the corner with a fucking pina colada, talking on her phone, and I'm walking out of there like somebody put me in a bag and rolled me down a flight of stairs. That's what I look like when I get up.
Somehow when he comes out of the pool, I hear Love and Marriage playing in the background.
Yeah, no, I mean, this water park, this Blizzard Beach or whatever the fuck they call it, Typhoon Lagoon, whatever they make waves or whatever the fuck. And then they want you to go on these rides. Okay, I had to go on this ride called Expedition Everest. Hey, this is pure fucking evil. I want to meet the guy that came up with this ride. I want to have a conversation with him one-on-one, so that I could talk to him like passionately. Did you get on this ride? You know what I'm talking about?
I know of it. I did not go on it.
I get talked into it like an asshole because your wife makes you feel like you're less of a father, and my son is going to grow up with stunted growth if I don't go on this ride. Okay. So you go on this ride and you go straight up. Literally, you're on your back going straight up. And the idea is you're going up this mountain in the snow in the Himalayas or whatever. I lived in Chicago my whole life. I never saw a fucking Yeti. So I don't know what they're talking about. And you run into the abominable snowman, and he tore the track. So what they do is they drop the ride backwards in the dark at about 150 miles an hour. And everyone on the ride is having fun except one asshole who has a stroke, which is me. And I got to the bottom, and I was like, Joe. I just got punched in the face by Joe Frazier like three times by the time I got to the bottom. And on the wall there's a warning, okay, that you could have cardiac arrest and all this bullshit. I go, listen. I told him, I said, listen, buddy, I'm not afraid of pirates or mice or any of this other shit you got here. The only thing I'm afraid of is death. And you got a ride that's warning me I could die when I go on this ride. And I get stuck going on it, and I'm telling you, Pants, I walked sideways for 3 days because the whole right side of my brain didn't work anymore. I talked with the lisp. Part of my face was dead. You know what I mean? I walked out of there. I looked like fucking. I'm telling you, I looked like Two-Face, where I had half a face that worked, the other side didn't work. Because I had to go on this ride because my wife guilted me into it. She's like, "I can't believe you're not going to go." Well, you're the father. You're the father. And I go, well, what's that got to do with anything? And then, your wife is like, well, what do you want to do, Sal? I go, well, what do I want to do? I want to sit down in a chair and be left alone is all I want. That's all I want. I don't need any pirates. I don't need small. I don't need any of this bullshit. Jungle Cruise. Just let me sit down over here and nobody bothers me. That's what I want. Is there a Don't Fuck with Sal ride? That's the ride I want.
Now, I have to say, we avoided all water parks. We stuck to the main theme parks. It was the boys' first time down, so we did hit just about every ride everywhere. Because it had been 20 years since I'd been down there last. Kids' first time. Now, there were things that we all loved and enjoyed, and that was great. We used the Fast Pass like mad. My wife was a wizard on the app to do that. But when we hit It's a Small World, we're going through it, and I'm like having this nostalgic, okay, it's fine. It's not my favorite ride, but it's fine. It's cute. It's nice to see.
It's air conditioned.
Yeah. It's really air conditioned.
If it's air conditioned, I'll go on it. Unless there's death involved.
The kids look at me halfway through it, and my wife, and they go, "What is this? What is this ride?" And we're like, "Well, we're trying to explain it. Like, I don't get it."
Yeah, it's charming. It's from the 50s. Yeah. It's same with my kids. They're like, "Oh God, this is just about the stupidest thing I've ever been on." Is what my daughter said. 6 years old. She goes, "This is a kid's ride."
Yeah.
I go, "You're fucking 6 years old. What do you mean kids ride? What are you, all of a sudden she's Joan Crawford. This is a kid's ride."
They enjoyed just about every other ride in some fashion. Not both at the same time, but, someone like Peter Pan, someone like this, whatever. That's fine. But, yeah, both of them kind of looked at It's a Small World and go, "I don't get this at all."
Look, there's something very charming about the old ride.
Oh, sure.
I loved Pirates and Peter Pan and Haunted House. And the kids, they want to go on those thrill coasters, man, and I just can't do it. Like that Expedition Everest and the trip to Mars. And I'm like, hey, whoa. I can't, I physically can. And then they make those rides. They don't make those rides for fat asses. I get on some of those rides, and I'm like Veal. You get on Space Mountain, they pull that bar down. And I'm like, hey, whoa. You got the bar across your crack. You can't move. Anything that this thing does, and all I'm thinking the whole ride is, please let this shit be over with. Please let this be over with. It's like getting your prostate checked. How long before I can get the fuck out of here is all I'm thinking.
And some of that was also logistics.
Some of those rides are.
Those rides were always packed, and we wanted to get to as much as possible. So like the Everest, the Mission to Mars and stuff, we skipped all that. We didn't wait in lines, even with the Fast Pass.
They're trying to hit up the teenagers for those rides, and that's fine. But my kids now are getting to that age where it's like, oh, I'm too cool. I want to go on. They see the thrill coaster shit that they advertise on TV, and they want to go on. And I said, listen, I told my wife, I said, look, I have no desire to go on that shit.
Yeah.
None. And then forget about any action with your wife when you're at Disney World, because my wife said that what kind of a sick maniac wants to get laid at Disney World? And I said, what's that supposed to mean? You get fucked the minute you walk in the door. I mean, it's $125 per person per day per this. Every time I turn around, $60 for a box of popcorn. Where do you think all these kids came from? Well, this is a family place. Why is it that you have thoughts like that? I go, well, you Billy Graham all of a sudden? I go, that's all I got left. That's all I got left. That's all I have left. My kids stealing shit. My son talking me into go on these fucking horrible rides, that I could get waterboarded, and it wouldn't bother me as much as some of these fucking rides that I got to go on. Lunch with the princess, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutiques. I'm like, every time I turn around, I'm like, wait, let me guess. Let me guess what this one costs, right? Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, where they take your little girl and they give her makeup, hair, So basically, they're preparing her for the street, where they put makeup on her hair and they do her nails. I said, where the fuck is Huggy Bear? Is all I need to know here. Where is this guy? 250 balloons to make my daughter look like a $2 hooker. And my wife, well, why do you? And then my wife gets that tone. She gets that. You know, they get that tone like you're a crazy person. Well, why do you feel this way? I go, listen, Freud. You know, because I just want to be left alone. The right side of my brain doesn't work anymore. Okay, I can't blink. This eye is like permanently open now, where it's all dry and shit. This, you know, the teeth that you could see, like the where my gums come in, and all the roots are all ripped loose because I look like the fucking Two-Face from the Chris Nolan movie, not the old, you know, Tommy Lee Jones one. My face is really fucked up now. I'm limping around like the mummy because the right side of my body doesn't work. I'm dragging one leg. So now I'm like Ratso Rizzo in Midnight Cowboy, where I'm walking with one foot. My ass is bleeding, okay, you know. And then if you're not careful, you got to watch you don't get, like, ass juice stains on your shorts because you've been walking around and standing in line all fucking day. Sweating, I mean, you sweat like you're literally in Africa is how hot it is when you're in Orlando. And then if it rains, oh, but Sal, doesn't it rain? Yeah. And as soon as it rains, the sidewalk is steaming. Yeah. There's steam coming off the sidewalk.
Yeah, the humidity just rises.
Yeah, and I'm standing in there, and it gets hotter at night. How the fuck that happens, I don't know. At night, it's worse than it is during the day. And I'm paying for all this shit. That's the part that kills me. You get on the monorail, and the guy's voice is just like, you know, the happiest place on earth. And then you get back to the room, and you're just like, you know, you want to just eat something and relax, and the kids are jumping from bed to bed going, you know, why are you such a terrible father? Why do we got to go to sleep at 2 a.m? Because I'm not Bob Guccione. That's why you got to go to bed at 2 a.m. Because we're not playing, you know, London after midnight here. It's time to go to bed.
You know,
your ass is raw, pants. Raw. It's like somebody took a cheese grater and rubbed it between your thighs. That's what it's like at the end of the day.
You know, I always wondered if we did the right thing by waiting until they were a little bit older, and I'm actually kind of glad I did. I think we hit the perfect age to take them.
My gosh.
We didn't go through most of that stuff that Sal went through now. It was a better age to take them for their first time. Still interested in it. Now they've seen it. We're good.
They started... I refuse to take them earlier than, say, 5, you know, and it's still... You know, there's not a lot you can do with little kids if they're not bored. I mean, they complain constantly about being bored.
Yeah.
So, you know, it becomes one of those things where you just say, all right, we'll go, you know, because I don't get a vacation all summer because I'm working. And then after, you know, the whole fall, I'm going from one show to the next. And then until after I get back from Italy, then I'm home for the holidays. But it's a crazy summer, so I have to, you know, put together some kind of family vacation where, you know, we can actually get away. And we go in September because the crowds are supposed to be lighter, you know. But I honest to God, I mean, I love Disney World, but I would be much happier just taking days off where we just don't do shit and stay at the pool or just, you know. But these kids, man, it's just go, go, go. I mean, they're on crack or something. I don't know what to
yeah. If you could bottle the amount of energy they have, oh, my God, we'd be rich.
Well, I just, you know, whenever they ask, you know, what are the kids drinking, I just say, can't we give them, like, NyQuil, you know, or Vicks Formula 44 or Robitussin, you know, so that way we just leave them here sleeping. I'm loose in the park. How long before security comes and gets us is what I tell my wife. Maybe I'll get 3 hours of freedom before they come and get us. Because that was, you know, then we found out they have daycare. We used, the babysitters at night or whatever. We used that one time to get out of there.
Yeah.
And you know, if you can actually go to downtown Disney and have dinner and not have to say stop it every 30 seconds. Because my kids are no and stop it. I have to constantly say stop it. Because they're constantly beating the shit out of each other, these two. I just, you know.
It doesn't happen very often with me, but every now and then somebody will say to me, "Hey, so Pants, when are you going to get married? When are you have kids?" I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Just listen to these stories. Are you out of your fucking mind?"
Pants?
Yes.
I don't give many pieces of advice. You know me. I'm a very shy person. Don't get married. Don't get married. Don't, please.
Done.
Please. I'll get down on my hands and knees and I'll plead with you. Don't get married. It's not for everybody. Let me put it that way. You know, it's a difficult thing to do, and I know I'm no Mardi Gras. I know living with me is not, you know, the easiest fucking thing in the world to do. You know, but it's when you got kids, man, you got to make a lot of, you got to give up all that me time. You know, that picking up the keys and going to the show shit. Those days are over.
No, I can't.
You know, everything is like the fucking Normandy invasion. It takes 3 days to organize where you're going to go and what you're going to do, and then 2 hours to put your fucking shoes on, and you get in the car and someone needs to take a shit, and somebody touched somebody's or looked out somebody's window, or somebody left their fucking doll at the restaurant. And you know, and you're constantly talking to yourself, you know, going, sons of bitches, these rotten little bastards is what, you know, and you're like, what did you say? Nothing. No, I'm good. You know, you're chasing around, and now they're getting to the age where they're getting all, you know, talking back a lot, and breaking my balls a lot, and you can't say what you mean. You know, you can't say what's really on your mind. You just got to go, oh, yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. I'm writing all this shit down when you need to borrow a car and shit like that. Then I'm gonna laugh my ass off. You know, my father is someplace right now laughing uncontrollably. I swear to you, because he got his wish. You know, I apologize to my mom every time I see her for you know, for the shit that we did. You know, I don't know how they did it, our parents.
No.
You know, I got two, and I don't know how the fuck they did it. I don't know how my mom. Now I know why my mom's crazy, because we made them that way. I'm sure my mom at one point in her life was a nice lady, but you know, she's like that little golfing pencil now. You know, there's nothing left anymore. There's just this little fucking stub that's chewed on and broken, and, you know. And that's for me and my brothers, you know, driving her fucking crazy. Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask
you're going to get married though, right, Pants?
Oh, good. Fuck no. It's not even a problem. But I can ask every now and then.
Now, what about Peter? Peter get married, or is he getting married, or what's his story?
I don't know. He's got a girlfriend who's been with for a couple of years now.
Yeah, it's steady. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I only see pictures of him once in a while on Twitter, or I don't know, what is it, Instagram, one of those.
Uh-huh.
The cover of Proud Puerto Rican or whatever that magazine is. And what about the other guys? You guys talk to the other guys anymore, or is it like the Beatles?
No, we do. It's harder as you're well aware. Life gets in the way.
Well, like I'm going to see Brian next week because we're actually going to London. That's the only time I'm going to see him, because we're going to London next week.
Oh yeah, right. You guys, you still do that show in London?
Oh yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah.
But he's busy with God knows what, and I'll see him for a few minutes when I'm over there.
Now, how often do you guys do the show now? How often do you manage to get together and do the show?
We try to do it about once a week.
Okay. And you still got a good following and fan base still? Because a lot of people ask me, even at San Diego, I mean, they're afraid to say something to me, and then they just they're going to ask about Geek Speak, and I'm like, no, you know, I mean, I tell them what I tell everybody. I'm like, if they ask, I go on. Otherwise, the only other stuff I do is the stuff you see me do for Alex. That's it. You know.
No, we're still having. Still have a good following. People still enjoy the show. They especially love when we do the episodes of like this. We did an episode a couple weeks ago, 3 hours on Jack Kirby from his opening, from his career up until he left Marvel, and we have to do part 2 yet. So folks really dig that kind of stuff. We get into real detail stuff, but yeah, they're still listening.
Yeah, they just need something to keep themselves awake at work.
There's a lot you can talk about with I think it's the stuff is as exciting as it's ever been. I got to be honest, I don't get to see as much of it. I mean, I actually just saw Wonder Woman last weekend. I don't get out to see them right when they come out, because I got to usually see something with a talking pig or some shit like that. But no, I think it's great. I mean, I think it's. I still love the stuff. I got to be honest, I don't get to the comic store as much as I would like, but a lot of times at cons I used to shop, but I forget, or you turn around and you don't get it. But then I'm an old geezer now. I wind up buying older stuff. I wind up buying, because I don't know what's going on with a lot of the storylines. I don't know a lot of the younger artists now. So I tend to buy stuff that I know, or I got that stack of stuff that I'm still trying to read. That keeps building up.
So I guess.
But no, I think it's.
Because I think the last time we talked to you, I was asking about Netflix. I don't suppose you've got Netflix yet and started watching the Marvel TV shows.
Yeah, actually I did.
You did? Oh, cool.
When Luke Cage came out, I had more people, like I was some kind of a sycophant or something for Luke Cage. I'm like, guys, take it easy. Take it easy. I saw it. I must have got 100 emails that Luke Cage is having his own TV show. I'm like, all right already, I get it. And I like it. I got to be honest, my favorite of all of them was Daredevil. I mean, Luke Cage was good. Iron Fist, I thought, really disappointed me because here's a show. It's about a guy who's supposed to kick people's asses, and it was some pretty diluted fight stuff. And I just, Iron Fist just kind of seemed like they didn't give a shit as much about it as they did the other shows. But, no, I like the stuff I saw. I like Daredevil a lot. Luke Cage, I thought, started out really cool, and then it kind of, but of the three, I would say Daredevil, Luke Cage, and then Iron Fist in that order. But I guess Defenders is next week, right?
Oh, it's this Friday. This Friday.
This Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Friday. So, no, I watch it. I think it's cool. I mean, I don't follow as much of... you know what? You want to know something? You know what I have never seen one episode of is Game of Thrones.
Oh, my God.
Me either.
Oh, my God.
No. And let me tell you why. Because everybody I talk to says you got to start at the beginning.
True.
So I've never had the time to sit down and go, all right, let me stop. Start at the beginning. What is it? 7 seasons old now, or whatever.
Middle 7th season right now. Yeah.
So I'll do it. I mean, I think probably over the winter, and sit down. I did that with Breaking Bad. I didn't get into Breaking Bad till season 5, and then I went back and watched a lot of the older, But that's all everybody talks about, especially at the cons. My God, that's all everybody talks about is Game of Thrones. My daughter reminds me of that little midget guy, so I don't really, worry too much about it. But thought it was Master Blaster from Mad Max, but I guess it's somebody else.
Wow. Master Blaster.
Yeah, who run Bartertown? That's my daughter. Who run Bartertown? I hear it. I hear her say it from upstairs, when I'm down in my office. I got to get the dog whistle, blow it to get rid of it, But some of the other guys, a lot of the other guys, kind of running parallel to your, the Geek Speak guys, I don't see a lot of those guys anymore. Like Buzz, I saw him at Comic-Con for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the guys that, everybody goes their own way.
Sure.
You don't really see them, as many of them as you used to. And a lot of these guys, they're not married, and they don't have kids. And they don't have, the similar lives, so it's hard to kind of relate to guys that don't have kids and aren't trying to swim with an anchor around their neck. So,
But that's but you do talk to some of the other guys, right?
Oh, sure.
You guys are you're still friendly, or is it like one of those?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
We were on a pretty good run of going to dinner together.
yeah, and somebody's fall behind
Well-
and getting that organized again.
Yeah, that was
Come on.
That was taking care of family business.
I know.
That kind of got in the way of that.
But we try to go out as often as we can as a group and,
The
catch
few
up.
of us that still live in the area. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's cool, man. It's important because I'm telling you, I get people that I don't think I've ever done a show when I don't have somebody come up to me and ask me about hey, you're that crazy guy from Geek Speak, and I'm like, oh, okay, they don't that or Shazam, but it's more Geek Speak than Shazam. You're like, hey, you used to be that Shazam guy before you got fat, and I'm like, yeah, thank you. That was a couple of chins ago, but yeah, it's still hey, you're Captain Marvel. No, it's not a real person, but okay, sure. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but no, I'm not Captain Marvel. And then my daughter, that was her big comment. She's like, Daddy, you used to be a superhero before you got really fat. That was what she asked me one time. Because my wife showed her. My wife showed her the book, and I'm like, yeah, boy, I got really fat. I was a superhero, sure. One way to look at it.
Thanks, honey.
Yeah, no, you're a sweetheart. Now get out of the car.
Yeah.
With all this, every time I put my hand between a cushion in my car, it's like they just decide in middle of chewing it they don't want it anymore. So they're like baby birds. They just spit it out. They just spit it out in their hand and they shove it between the seats, and
Yeah.
I find it in the spring when you smell something. You're like, what does that smell?
Yeah, I remember those days.
Somebody decided halfway through I don't like carrots and eggplant and and goldfish. And sometimes they would just go, Daddy, take this. And you're driving, so you just put your hand back, and then there's a steaming pile of something in your hand. And you're like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this now? And then you they're like Rottweilers. You see shit in there that they ate. You go, when did they swallow this? Where it's like chewed up plastic, and it looks like shit that was in the just ground up something. And there's hair, and like piece of foil. And they just spit it up and hand it to you.
Like you said, you'd say, well, what am I supposed to do with this? And they're in the back going, I don't know. I don't want it anymore.
I don't know. I didn't want it anymore. Yeah. I didn't want it. Then they try to turn shit around. I didn't want it in the first place. I don't know why you gave it to me. Why'd you give it to me? I'm like, oh, fuck do I know? I don't know. I don't know anything around here. And then my daughter, when I walk in the room, their new move is when I walk in the room, they hide the remote. They take their remote and they sit on it. And I'm like I don't see it. And I'm like, well, I was going to watch something, but I guess now, forget it. I got to filter it through two kids. Where's the remote, guys? I don't know. Haven't seen it. So now I have to literally ask the permission of two little shits to watch television.
That's why my DVR gets backed up until a certain point in the season when they go on reruns for a few weeks and 11 o'clock at night.
Well, you at least you got that. See, so when I go away, I'll come back and things that I recorded aren't recorded because my wife will say we didn't have the room, so my shows don't make the cut. But yet, Wow Wow Wubsy and fucking SpongeBob and Loud House or anything with a pig that takes a vacation with a hat, that shit gets recorded. Okay? My shit, I only pay the mortgage. Why record it? And the cable bill. So what clout do I got around this house? I'm like that button when you press when you're going to cross the street. It's not hooked up. It doesn't mean shit. You could press it all fucking day, and it just doesn't work. Everybody knows it doesn't work. They press it anyway, but it doesn't work. That's Sal. That's me.
I have to say,
at
least
fucking button.
None of them really know how to operate the DVR, so I'm pretty safe there.
Well, my wife will go, well, I was going to record Footloose, so your stuff didn't make the cut. Footloose?
or it'll be anything with the burning bed or some stupid shit. Women have these programs where you'll be like, the burning bed with Farrah Fawcett? I'm like, yeah, it was coming on at 2 a.m. and then, so what? So you deleted the football game for the burning bed. I wanted to see what happened. It's in the fucking title. She lights the bed on fire. Well, I just, it's like, it was like one time I shared a room, don't ask me why, about 10 years ago, I let that jag-off Simone stay in my room in San Diego. Okay? All right? The monkey in space. I let him stay in my fucking room. So, it's like 4 a.m, and he's watching Titanic. and I go, Simone, really? With the fucking Titanic, my hearts will go on bullshit? Can we turn it off, please? I want to go to bed. He goes, I want to see what happened. I said, the boat sinks, jag-off. What do you mean, what happened?
Yeah, spoiler alert.
So I have to explain to him that the Titanic was a real story. He's like, well, how do you know? I go, because it really happened, asshole. Really?
Because I was there.
This is a fucking guy that doesn't know, like, his ass from his elbow. He didn't know that Titanic was a real story.
Will there be a sequel?
It's 4 a.m, and the boat hasn't even hit the fucking iceberg yet. We're 3 hours away, asshole. I'm like, turn it off. I want to go to bed. I'll tell you what happened. The boat sinks. They hang on to a door. She gets the fucking rock. Lets the asshole drown. Billy Zane kills himself. Billy Zane is the real fucking hero of the whole movie, if you want to know the truth. Who brings their mother-in-law with them on a fucking boat is what I want to know. You know what it would take for me to bring my in-laws with me on a trip? Are you kidding? I won't even answer the door when my in-laws come over. This asshole brought them on the fucking Titanic with them. I look behind the curtain. Quiet. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. My brother-in-law. Don't say anything. No bigger jag-off than my brother-in-law. There is. My brother-in-law's out there. There could be a guy out on my porch selling heroin, and I would answer the door instead of my brother-in-law because he's such a jag-off. Yeah, he comes over and he's one of those guys. He thinks he's funny and he wants to humiliate, make fun of me, and I don't say anything because it's like it's my wife's brother. So you got to kind of play that angle. It's my wife's brother, but when he comes to the door, boy, let me tell you something. I put a disguise on and I go to the door and pretend like it's not my house. Turn into the chameleon all of a sudden. I just fucking change my appearance. And go, no, they don't live here anymore. That kind of shit. Simone, he's another guy I don't talk to anymore.
Actually, he's going to be in London next week. We'll see him in London next week.
Yeah, Simone he's a hardworking guy, man. I know he's still working. We talk a little bit in Muka, but he's I don't know, he's doing his own thing now. I don't really we don't talk as much as we used to. He's married now, got a couple of kids, same story. But a lot of guys in the business, you lose touch. Everybody goes their own way. Even like college roommates. I haven't heard from some of those guys in years. It's unfortunate. It all becomes grown-up shit.
Yeah, life happens.
When you got kids, you don't have any more time, man. I know it sounds like an excuse, but you just don't have any fucking time anymore.
And what little time
you want to.
What little time you get, you savor in the peaceful and quietness.
Well, yeah, when you get weekends come and I've got that 2 hours after the kids go to bed. 2 hours, and it's all I got in the day because there's you're up at 6 and you're taking. I'm like a fucking school bus driver. My second car is a school bus. I swear to God, all I'm doing is dropping off, picking up, saying hi to people. Hey, hi, how are you? And then you got all these uptight parents that these broads are under some delusion that you're hitting on them when you say good morning. And it's like, if any of you broads ever looked in the fucking mirror, is all I want to say to some of these mothers in the morning. I walk around with the pajamas on, the yentas carrying the cereal bowls. And I go, good morning. And they look at me like all of a sudden, I'm like arch criminal number one. They look at me like I'm John Dillinger. And then, between that and you go to work and you're picking up kids and there's karate practice and harmonica, piano, violin. My daughter takes harmonica practice. Was she fucking going to be a blues singer? I told my wife, I go, what blues does she got? She's 6 years old. Who the fuck plays a harmonica at 6 years old? What is she, Willie Dixon all of a sudden? My daughter's got to play the fucking harmonica. My son is a little Italian kid that walks around with a violin case. I said, do you realize what stigma there is with a little Italian kid with a violin case? The jokes that are going to come his way now. And then, then I asked my daughter what she wants to play because she starts grammar school. She wants to play the tuba. I said, listen. Let me explain something. There's no fucking tubas coming in this house. That's it. Yeah. She wants to play the tuba. I said, yeah, okay. Drop off. Then by the time you make them dinner, you fight with them to eat dinner, and they go to bed, you got 2 hours. Pants. 2 hours of freedom. We're like, food tastes better. Colors are brighter. The air is cleaner.
Yep.
Your dick finally gets hard again. You can actually take a shit that doesn't feel like tacks are coming out of your ass. It's all good when they go to bed. So, like you said, when weekends come, you've got so little freedom that all you really want to do is just nothing. You just want to relax, man. Because you got to start all over again on Monday. So when everybody's like, oh, we should go here, we should go there, I'm like, guys, I give everything I got, but when the weekends come, man, I got nothing left. I got zero left. I mean, and working for Alex, I'm like the fucking Silver Surfer, and he's Galactus. And all I'm looking for are planets for him to consume. That's it. And I'm like just a guinea. Instead of an IROC, I got a surfboard. That's all I got, and I got nothing left. I'm the chrome grease ball, and he's the guy who just looks at the planet, and goes no, and throws it back. So. That's what I tell people. Well, I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to Alex. I'm like, well, I want a lot of things. I wanted to fuck Cheryl Ladd. That didn't happen. So what do you want from me? I'm sorry. I don't want to talk to you, Sal. I want to talk to Alex. Well, hey, I wanted to fuck Nova in Planet of the Apes, but they wouldn't let me. Sorry. Raquel Welch in Kansas City Bomber. Didn't happen. So, you want to ask him what? What do you want to ask him? What, about Boba Fett or some shit like that? He doesn't want to talk to you. He really doesn't. Honest to God. What does Alex think about? And I go, I don't know. I don't know what he thinks about Boba Fett. I really don't. Well, how do you know? You didn't even ask him. I'm like, okay, wait. All right, I asked him. No, he doesn't want to talk about Boba Fett. There's a reason. There's a reason he's not here and I'm here. Is he wants to stay home and work. The most asked question at Con is, where's Alex? First of all, are you Alex? And then I go, no. And then they're pissed off. Okay, I get it 100 fucking times a day. I'm your biggest fan. And I go, okay, but you don't know what I look like. One, I'm not Alex. That's the most asked of the day. Two, where is he? Why isn't he here? Mm-hmm. That must be 100 times a day. And I just tell people, you know what? This is a franchise. I don't know what to tell you. I've never met him. This is just, I say, really? I go, yes. It's like Jimmy John's, only it's Alex Ross. It's Papa John's Pizza. This is Alex Ross. Our I don't know what else to say. And I just, you've seen him. You saw him at the museum. I mean, in Shenandoah Valley, and he does. The guy does. 3-4 signings, appearances a year at those things. But he's a family guy, man. He likes to stay home and paint and spend time with his family and not travel around a ton. He's just that kind of guy. And fans oftentimes get offended. They're like, well, why doesn't he want to? Doesn't he like his fans? No, what do you mean doesn't he like his fans? That's crazy. I mean, look at the volume of work the guy does. So he loves this stuff, and he loves his fans, but he's just a guy that likes to, focus on his work.
Yeah.
And that's what he's got the surfer for. I don't know what else to say. I mean, when people get angry, they get offended and pissed off. And I don't know, and it's like I don't know what to say. It's not that at all. He does show. He used to do shows more in the past, but now he kind of limits them to a few a year. We just did the one in Vegas. He was at the Mirage, and he just did the one in Virginia, and he did a signing here in Chicago last year. So, I don't know. I don't like to consume planets all the time, but it's my job. What can I do?
Not to everyone's taste.
Right.
Right. Nothing personal. I just say, here you go, Alex, what do you think? And he's like, no. And I go, okay. I'll go to New York and look for another one. I don't know what to tell you. But, no, we've got, moving forward, we're pretty excited. We got a lot of, we've been doing, I don't know if you saw what we did at San Diego, but we've been doing these Marvel Mania recreations. We did, of the Ditko Spider-Man piece that used to come as a poster. So we're doing a Hulk one in New York, Kirby Hulk one. It's big. It's poster size. And he did a Kirby 100th anniversary piece, and for Kirby's celebration, his 100th celebration. It's awesome.
Yeah.
The turnout for it in San Diego, it sold out in like 15 minutes. It was great.
Wow.
And Tarna, we're doing some Tarna. We did some 2 pieces from Tarna, from Heavy Metal. I don't know if a lot of people remember Tarna, but you remember the movie in the 80s? You guys too young to remember that?
No, I saw one or twice. Yeah.
I want to say it's on one of the streaming services right now, too, something.
Yeah, it was just something that the Heavy Metal magazine owns the character, and I guess they're coming out with a comic of it this year. So they approached Alex, and Alex was like, yeah, if he could do the old outfit from the movie.
Nice. And
they were like, sure. So he did not 1 to 2 Tarna pieces. So there's that, and then we'll have all the usual, all the originals, and we're doing a lot of show exclusives and the Universal Monsters, and he just did a new Shadows line for Marvel. We did the Shadows line for DC last year, and we did the Marvels one this year. Flash Gordon and Monty Python and the Beatles and all that shit. It's crazy how much work the guy produces.
That's awesome.
And we shot a lot of video because people complain they never get to see Alex. And we're going to be doing more of his process. We're going to be filming how he paints and kind of a time-lapse thing
to
show his process, because that's kind of the number one thing people ask about is how he paints,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're doing that, and we got a new book coming out next year, another art book coming out next year in 2018. And so we got a lot of stuff in the pipeline. What do you guys think about Ultraman? I was thinking about maybe doing some Ultraman.
That's something.
You know what I mean? There seems to be a cult following for that kind of stuff.
I haven't seen that in years, but I love that as a kid.
I did too.
I would get something.
I would be curious. I would be curious what the fan base thinks. So if any of the listeners got any, want to do that kind of stuff, I've been trying to get him to do some Ultraman, and because I think it's cool. And he did some Ultraman stuff about 10 years ago for the DVD stuff. But I think that, like with Battle of the Planets, Gotcha Man, there's kind of
the next one I was thinking of.
Not an enormous amount of it. I don't know how many I'm not saying we're going to do a whole series of Ultraman, but I'm saying a couple of Ultraman posters would be cool.
Yeah.
Kind of old manga style with the text. I want to make them look like old movie posters. With the old, Japanese font on it, and those ones that they used to plaster on the brick walls with the paste. But maybe for 2018, doing that kind of thing.
The Battle of the
Trying
Planets.
different stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, Alex did an enormous amount of stuff for Battle of the Planets.
Sure
Gotcha,
did.
man. He's a big fan of that show growing up. So we did a lot of that 6 or 7 years ago.
Yep.
And but Ultraman just seems to have a limited. There's that window there of people that want it, but you don't want to oversaturate it with it.
As soon as you said Ultraman, that's just like the Battle of the Planets stuff. That's right where my head went.
Yep.
That'll look. If he does, that'll look spectacular.
Yeah, I just figured, maybe it's something we can, it's a change of pace.
Sure.
But, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if a lot of that stuff, you'd be surprised how much of that stuff is tied up in legal hell, where so many different people have owned the rights to it over the years.
Oh, wow.
That once, family members die and they leave it to this guy and they leave it to that guy, and then they fight in court and, it goes on and on forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So sometimes you want to do it legally because you can't just. It's not like the Wild West. You can't just say, "Hey, we're going to do Ultraman," and then just go do it, and then they come looking for you.
Yep.
So you got to do it. You have to, you got to do it legally. You got to do it the right way. Otherwise, nobody gives a shit until you make money. The minute that the piece makes money, nobody cares until all of a sudden, hey, what about blah blah blah? Then they come looking for you and go, But Ultraman, I heard, was kind of tied up with the old estate. I'm not sure. I got to chase it down a little bit.
Okay. Well, Jack, I have to look into that.
It's like Busty. Who owns Busty?
I'm not
I
sure.
don't know or Chocolate Singles. Who owns that now? I don't know who owns that anymore.
We'll have our legal team look into that.
You're good at that. What are you doing to pass your time now, Pants?
Oh,
you staying out of trouble or what?
Well, yeah. I just pretty go to work, sleep, and eat. That's about all I do.
Good. Well, what else is there?
Well, true.
Well, porn in between once in a while.
Every
but
now
that's
and
about
then.
it.
But just watching a lot of
Every
TV.
now and then.
Watching a lot of TV.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to football. But not quite yet. We're in the dog days of summer now. But when fall comes around, it's nice.
What's the Bears' outlook this year? Do they even have a chance of winning like 6 games?
No. It's a total rebuild. So we'll be very lucky to win 6 games.
Okay.
I mean, everything's a rebuild. I mean, they got rid of Cutler finally, thank God. And he was here 8 years, and that just needed to end. Mm-hmm. And we drafted all these kids, so it's a rebuild. So we'll see.
Yeah, here
hope springs eternal.
Yeah, we're in the market for the Eagles where we are, and everyone's talking about Carson Wentz is the savior, and they're talking playoffs, and it's like I'm sure they'll improve, but he's good, but he doesn't impress me like they're going to go to the playoffs this year. I mean, who knows? But
they supposedly drafted a whole bunch of extra receivers.
Yeah, they just made a trade for a cornerback, which they were desperately needing. But, I'm not the biggest football fan. I enjoy watching it, but I don't live or die by it. But I want to see him do well. I mean, hope they get the playoffs, but everything I hear on the talk radio is like, oh, they're going to be this, talk like 10, 11 wins. It's like, look, guys, I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, but hope springs eternal. Sometimes that's the best stuff because they surprise you. Mm-hmm. You go in and you don't really have a lot of pressure. You don't have any expectations, kind of thing, and that's some of the best stuff because you just you catch them off guard. When you go in with crazy expectations and they're supposed to do all this stuff, a lot of it depends too a lot on who's injured. Mm-hmm. You could have a great team. One guy goes. I look at the Patriots if Brady goes down. Party's over. It's a whole other team. Or look at Green Bay. God help them.
Oh yeah.
If Aaron Rodgers goes down, it's a whole different team. So you got some teams that like one guy. It's a whole other story.
Yep.
So you got to wait. With the Bears, it's nice because at least. You got all these young kids. We'll see what happens. We got this new quarterback, and I don't know. It's nice because when the weather turns to shit,
that's when it's nice to sit and watch football on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I like football. I can watch any of it. I don't care. I don't really. You know, once the Bears are out of it, I can watch whoever. It doesn't bother me. You know, it's entertainment. I try to explain it to my wife. I go, look, man, it's just entertainment. You know, the guys that don't go to work if the Bears lose, and they're ready to. And that shit I don't get at all.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? It's like, guys, calm down. It's entertainment.
Right.
You know, take it easy. You know, it's just it's something to pass the time. You know, you don't got to. I know guys that you can't even talk to them if the Bears lose. You're like, oh my God, take it easy, will you? You know, it's a stupid game.
Well, I see.
That's why I don't.
I see. Tiz is also a big Bears fan.
Tiz is I don't understand, but I guess he grew up in the area, so it was. But that's why I don't bet on it. That's why I don't do fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do any of that shit because then it clouds your ability to enjoy the game. You know, I know guys that are like, they're ready to kill themselves because they lost a lot of money or they bet on it or whatever. And I'm like, guys, all I hope for is when I get up to use the bathroom, when I come back, the game is still on. Because around here, as soon as I get up, you leave, you come back, and it's they put on Wah Wah Wubsy or some bullshit, And now were you watching that? You were watching? Oh, we didn't know you were watching it. They give you that bullshit. And I'm like, well, and you turn it back, and it's like it's an hour later, and you missed half the game because they had to watch Peppa Pig or some bullshit, and you're like, oh, okay, great. I don't have an opinion.
Well,
London, huh?
Yeah, London. Yeah.
How many is this now for you guys?
Let's see. I think this is the 6th show I've gone over there for London. Yeah.
6, huh?
Yeah.
Jesus. Do you wear like a bowler hat and you got a cane and shit now, or how does that work, man?
No, it's just me rolling over there trying to look like I belong and don't not to stand out.
How many of you guys are over there for that? How many go over for London?
Right now it's just me and Brian this year.
Okay.
Yeah, because
that's enough.
Yeah, well, they changed the dates. It used to be in February. It used to be we used to get a little. It's new show, new venue. We'll see how it goes.
He's Mr. Belvedere.
Bigger, small. Has it gotten bigger? How's that working, that show?
It's grown steadily every year. Now this is a new venue, so I think it's a little smaller venue than it was before. But like I said, Simone's going to be over there. Bendis is coming over. So looking forward to. I'm usually in Artist Alley helping out with getting people drinks and watching their lines and everything.
What is it in London or outside of London? Where is it at?
This one, I believe. Oh, see, I'm so bad with the geography. I think it actually is in London. It's at the Business Design Center, but I'm not sure where that is exactly. But I think it's more in the middle of London than it was in the past. The show.
Oh, okay. No, that's a great town, London.
Yeah, and I enjoy going over there. I have an idea of how to get my way around the tube right now and everything. Get my pass, my oyster pass.
Yeah, it's tremendously underrated for women, I think, London. I mean, you never hear anybody talk about, a lot of hot women in London. When I was there, I was very impressed. I thought, my God, there is just a lot of beautiful women in London. I was really surprised. You never hear about that. You think of New York or, South America and shit, but when I was in London, I was impressed. It's a young town, though. It's kind of become very, very gentrified, and it's become you got a lot of people, working class people, had to move out of London because it got very expensive. So you got a lot of young professionals in London. I was there last time I was there, I was over there over 9/11. I couldn't fly out. I was there for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They couldn't get me out of there. Yeah, I flew in the morning of 9/11 to London. And when I landed, that's when the planes hit the towers. So they shut down Heathrow because London was supposed to be next, according to the media. That was what they announced. So they literally shut everything down, and nobody could get out of London for like 2 weeks, flying wise. They shut down Heathrow and all that stuff. So, but the people of London could not have been nicer. My God, they opened up. I couldn't pay for a beer anywhere I went, and they were just so tremendously nice to to all the Americans that were stranded there. That I never forgot how great the people of London were. You hear that a lot. A lot of countries and places say they're friends of, they're our allies and things like that. But I really felt it when I was there for in such a crazy situation. Mm-hmm. It was amazing how the people rallied to help all the people that were stranded in London. But not the greatest food, though, I gotta say, unless you like Indian. No, unless you like Indian food, and I'm not a big Indian guy for Indian food because it's not my thing. But they got some great restaurants, but I just I don't go too much for English food, shepherd's pie and that stuff.
That is one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's your thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my mother makes it from time to time. And last time I was over there, we had some toad in the hole. Anything that involves sausage, I'm pretty much okay with.
Yeah, three beans on toast.
I would eat that.
Yeah, that's another one of the English. Growing up as a kid, I was a big Who fan, so I always loved the Who. And Quadrophenia, was a big movie when I was in high school. So I just always thought it was, When I went to London, I expected to see Sting riding around with the scooter with the mirrors, and I didn't see it. Then I was like, "Where are the mods and the rockers?"
Neither they're the mockers.
That's right.
That or when I was a kid, all the monster movies were in London. You expected everything to be foggy and the werewolf's going to tear your throat out, kind of thing. But I walked everywhere when I was there. I had nothing but time to kill because most of the museums and everything was closed. So I had just days and days of nothing to do. So all I did was just walk around London because everything was shuttered because of security reasons. So I retraced all the Jack the Ripper shit.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know what else to do, so I just walked around. I mean, honest to God, I went everywhere. It's a fascinating city.
Yeah. Looking forward to that very much.
How long are you out there for that? What is it, like a couple of months, or what?
Oh God, I wish. No, I'm there. I fly in. I arrive like Wednesday morning and leave like Monday afternoon. So only about 6 days, unfortunately.
No, that's good though. How much of a kick in the ass is it to fly? How long of a flight is that now from where you're at?
It's only about a 7.5 hour flight. It's not too bad. I can fly nonstop.
No, that's good. I mean, the way that's what sucks about when you go to Italy. You have to change planes, and that's what creates a lot of problem for why a lot of Europeans don't go to San Diego, but they go to New York. Is that it's a kick in the ass to get from Europe to San Diego.
Right.
I mean, that's like a 16-hour flight. You got to, and that's assuming you're changing planes in New York or you can't get a direct flight. So a lot of Europeans, I know, that's why they shy away from San Diego, but they go to New York because they could get direct flights to New York. And, it's not as much of a kick in the ass to travel. Mm-hmm. To go from London or Germany or Spain, where a lot of the publishers are.
Yeah.
In France and Italy. So you get a lot of business there for that. You guys don't give a shit, I can tell. You're like, what? You're about an hour ago when I was talking about Disney, you're like, why doesn't he shut the fuck up already? I don't know. Right now you're remembering why you never asked me on the show anymore. You're like, now I remember why we stopped inviting this asshole to be on the show. He just doesn't shut the fuck up, and he always makes these dirty references about his ass and about stuff like that. And,
As soon as we hang up, we all get together and we're like, all right, so we're good for a few months, right?
Few months? You guys are probably good until the fucking next eclipse. You'll be like, shit, fuck this guy.
That's less than a week.
You're like my wife. You're like my wife. You're like, she's like, oh, why the fuck did I marry this guy? That must have been drunk. Jesus Christ. I think he lied and said he liked sake and my brother. And then I found out later on. I'm like, what the fuck is sake? And he thinks my brother's an asshole. That kind of shit. He's got a friend named Tiziano, and I love Tiziano. I'm not sure about the new Prince mustache, but everything else he's working for him. but if that Prince thing works for you, God bless you. Doesn't work for me, but if it works for you, you got to go to your strengths. You know?
Oh man.
John Suntress was working with us on some of the videos. You know.
Oh,
Suntress,
cool.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, the happy Greek. So here's a fucking guy, okay, who's the nicest guy you'll ever meet, okay? But he's complaining to me how he looks on camera. He's like, Sal, listen, I'm not crazy about how I look on camera. You know, I look a little heavy, and I go, John, what the fuck are you talking about? You look like John Suntress. I don't know if in his mind he thinks he's fucking Cary Grant or Rock Hudson, but I go, John, no one's going to see this video and go, holy shit, it's not Leif Garrett. You're fucking John Suntress. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Who told you you're the Karate Kid? I don't fucking understand this. You know what I mean? One of the Hardy Boys is now announcing for Alex Ross. What the fuck are you talking about?
My God, Parker Stevenson.
So I'm
John
like,
Cassidy.
John, take it easy. What the fuck are you talking about? You know, no one's going to go, hey, Chachi, what the fuck? When did you start working for Alex Ross? You know, I said, you look like you always look. I mean, John, you know, is a nice guy. He's great at what he does. But I didn't understand what the fuck he was talking about, and I was just a little shocked that, you know, I know my place. I have no delusions, you know, that it's fucking Greaseball Central. So I don't worry about it. I don't pretend to be somebody I'm not, you know. But so I just say, what, when people bitch, oh God, Sal looks so Italian. I'm like, duh, you know. I'm always like, no, really, you know. Fuck. How'd that happen? Fucking cover Greaseball Weekly, and they're like, oh, Sal's so Italian. Like, oh, wow. Big shock. You know. It's like fried bologna. You know, it is what it is. What the fuck do you want from me? I wasn't sure how I looked on camera. John, I'll call Lucas and we'll CGI you to make you look like fucking, you know, to make you look like fucking, you know, you're the next James Bond. What do you want me to tell you? Fucking Greeks, I swear to God. You know, thank God for souvlaki. Or, you know.
The gyros.
Yeah.
Moussaka.
Because I saw 300, and I'm thinking, I don't know any Greeks that look like these fucking guys. I mean, honest to God, all the Greeks I know look like fucking chia pets. You know, they're just covered in hair, and you know, they walk around. And most of the Greeks I went to high school with, they don't use any deodorant. They wear that cheap Adidas cologne, and they don't look like Leonidas. From last I heard, I'm like, holy shit, dude! I don't know any Greeks that look like this with this Sparta bullshit. You know. So now, are you guys excited about all this new JLA stuff and Gal Gadot and all this, you know, new shit that's going on, or you don't care either way?
Well, I mean, for me, I enjoyed the Wonder Woman movie. I'm not jazzed for the Justice League. I mean, I haven't seen much of anything. I try to avoid all trailers if I can, and I'll go see it, but I'm not like, God, gotta go see it. I mean,
I think the Wonder Woman movie was fantastic. I think that's the best work Warner Brothers and DC has done in a long time. This newer Justice League trailer gives me a little bit more hope, but I'm still a little bit skeptical about it. But I'll definitely go see it. I'm excited to see it. I don't think it's going to be the best thing since sliced bread. But I definitely think the Wonder Woman movie hit a mark and did something that I'm glad it did. It was just fantastic to watch.
Yeah. I got to be honest, I just saw it like literally over the weekend because, you know, it's hard to, you know, everybody went nuts when it first came out and ran and saw it. And I was just busy. I couldn't, but I liked it. You know, I mean, I'm not the biggest Wonder Woman guy because I grew up a Marvel guy, but, you know, I liked it. And I thought it was, I mean, I saw her at San Diego. She's a, very, attractive lady in person. I got to be honest, I saw Wonder Woman as a little bigger of a character, a little beefier. But that being said, I thought she was great. I don't go in. I think maybe my problem is I also don't go into these things with incredibly high expectations, because I think, unfortunately, I'm afraid they're going to treat the stuff, without the most reverence for the characters that we know. Mm-hmm. They're gonna do their versions of them.
Sure.
So I'm always just kind of like, hey, as long as they treat them with respect and they make them look cool, I'm always like, that was great. So when people ask, I go, yeah, looks cool.
Yeah, I go in hoping for the same things you do, and if I come out entertained in that way, I'm fairly satisfied.
Yeah, you got to just kind of hope for the best, and for some of them you're like, yeah, okay, I got to be honest, I don't go see all of them, but for the most part, they seem to be doing good. I don't have a lot of faith in Justice League. I hate to say, but then again, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt until it comes out.
Yeah,
I'm not the biggest Affleck guy and all that, but hey, because I love the Chris Nolan stuff. That was part of the problem. I hated to see him go, and I saw Dunkirk, and I thought it was great, and I really wish they didn't lose him. When I heard George Miller, the Mad Max guy, might take on the franchise, I thought, man, that would have been really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I know he wanted to. The rumor was he wanted to make some serious changes to the characters that DC just didn't want to let him do.
Yeah.
So that I understand. But yeah, and Miller's a tremendous director. So. But yeah, again, I like the Chris Nolan stuff. So I was sad to see him leave the franchise.
Yeah, I did too. The third one's my least favorite, but the other two were gangbusters great.
Yeah. Yeah, I was got a little crazy this year at San Diego with all that Justice League stuff. And
I believe it.
Ragnarok, and they had Black Panther cast, and they had what else did they have?
Not to mention all the TV show casts were there too.
Yeah, they announced Kingpin's getting his own show, and Punisher, and I guess they're going to renew Daredevil and Luke Cage and Iron Fist for second seasons, and so that's, I guess, the Netflix stuff is doing well. But then there's also the announcement now that Disney's pulling their content to start their own streaming service.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that'll mean. I don't know what that'll mean for Netflix. So.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about everybody deciding to have their own streaming service for every little thing now.
Yeah.
But at least...
Chance is waiting for the Fin Fang Foom miniseries.
Well, no, what I'm waiting for on Netflix and has me just on cloud nine is David Letterman is coming back to TV. He's going to be on Netflix. Like, oh my God, I can't fucking believe that.
Now, how's that going to work? Is that going to be a talk show format, or how's he doing that?
I've pretty much, like most things, voided any other than the announcement. I got a few people texting me and email me when it announced, but he's back on TV. That's all I need to know, basically. He could read the fucking phone book, and I'd be watching that show.
Yeah. Yeah, Pants is excited. That's nice to see.
Well, I mean, what else do I have going on? I mean, I got nothing going on.
Hey, take it easy. I'm just saying.
I'm sorry.
Your feelings hurt. Holy. When did you get so delicate all of a sudden? Oh my God. It's like, holy shit. I'm just saying. You don't got to get all, woo. Shit. Look out. Fucking Pants. Somebody poured some fucking Fresca on his panty shield. My God. Holy fuck.
I'm sorry.
Calm down, man. What the fuck's going on?
I missed the guy. It's been, over 2 years.
We slip him some NyQuil every now and then.
Oh, stop it.
How about it? Now, you met Letterman, did you, Pants, or no?
Yeah, I've actually had a very brief encounter over the years. I mean,
hang out with him, or did you just say,
I had a quick conversation with him outside. I got his autograph one time and a photo, and I talked to him in front of the show a couple of times, and he did a special in New York, at New York Comic Con last year. He was doing a talk at a theater. I got to ask him a question, and it was wonderful.
Weren't you sitting near some of his relatives? In the
Yeah, I was sitting the same row as his wife and his son at the thing. It was sublime. I was like a pig in shit. It was wonderful.
Jesus. Wow. My God. Pants, take it easy.
I'm a simple man
Fucking
with simple
got all
needs.
bent out of shape. So am I. I stay up sometimes at 2 a.m. just to watch Cindy Crawford put that lotion on her face. I mean, I don't need a lot. I mean, I really don't. Of course, now I project that it's not lotion she's rubbing on her face, but that's besides the point. It's just watching Cindy Crawford rub white cream on her face is all I need at 2 a.m. You know. But we can leave it there. And, you know, everybody knows what a demented jagoff I am. They can fill in the gaps with that one. But my point is, I don't have a lot anymore. I take my little victories. You know what I mean? I have small victories, tiny ones. You know, like I hide. I buy one bag of Ruffles and I hide the other bag. You know, and hope the decoy doesn't give it away. That's all I have. You know. My wife doesn't throw the fat away on the steak. You know, she keeps it for me. You know, that's all I got. You know. The skin from KFC chicken. That's another one. I've got so few. You know, so when you say, "Hey, the Letterman thing," you don't got to get all upset. I'm right there with you. I'm your biggest fan when it comes to having your. We've all got our foolish pleasures, our little things that get us excited. You know, it works that way.
Yes,
it does.
But shit, you see how excited Pants got? My God, it was like, holy shit! He sat up and
Adam, I backed away a little bit.
Yeah, he sat up, and it was a good thing I wasn't in the room. I mean, it was just going like one of those. Somebody would have had to like stand between the two of us, like he was going to hit me or something. I'm like, my God, Pants. Shit. Oh. Woo!
He was ready to sprint across the table, and you're not even here.
It was like Tom Cruise on Oprah when he jumped on the couch, you know, saying he was in love. That was Pants right just now. Like, shit.
I got my second wind. What can I tell you?
Wow.
You can tell we missed
like
the
when I discovered it's like when I first discovered Huggy Wipes, you know. It was like, oh, my God, these are the greatest things ever. You know, you can actually have a wet rag to wipe your ass with constantly, and it's always ready to go. Wow. And then the plumber's like, hey, who keeps flushing these things down the toilet? And I sold the kids out completely. I'm like, these little bastards. Fucking kids, man, you know.
I tell them.
It was me completely. It was me. I mean, come on. It was me. I won't deny it for a minute. It was me. Oof, you know, toilet paper when you get to be an older guy, it's like fucking wiping your ass with a Sears catalog. You know, and I can't do it anymore. I use the Huggy Wipes. And I have no shame carrying with me on trips. When people go, hey, what's with the Huggy Wipes? I just look at them. I go, what do you think I use them for? What am I? I'm tidy? You know, I'm neat? No. It's, you know, I'm 50-something years old, and my ass looks like a tuba. So that's all I got left. And the plumber told me no go. So I had to finally put the Huggy Wipes out of commission.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes you got to take one for the team.
That's right.
Of course, it doesn't stop my kids from flushing everything else down the toilet, you know. I mean, it's like the shit you find in the septic tank is like, oh, here's all that stuff I paid a lot of money for. There it is, right here. You know. All right, gentlemen. I know you're just insanely disappointed, but I have got to put these crazy little kids to sleep. So
Right. Well, looking forward to seeing you in New York, Sal.
yes, gentlemen. In the meantime, anything you need, don't be shy. Give me a holler.
How about an Alex Ross original?
Alex Ross Art is where I reside, and that's the you know. I'm the little guinea surfer. You know, that's my thing. And
I think that needs to be a sketch of the day.
yeah, I'm on Facebook and Twitter, and by now everybody's just no one's Googling my name. They're all going, "Oh shit, why doesn't he shut up?" So that's the reality I live in. But hey, as always, thanks. I really appreciate you having me on. Anytime, anything you guys ever need, or if you just want to shoot the shit, don't be shy.
Awesome.
It's always good to talk to you, Sal.
Yes.
Have a good summer, man. What's left of it. It's the dog days, but
Yeah.
Yes.
maybe let's talk for a little while. Maybe after New York.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I promise I won't bring up David Letterman. I promise.
No, that's fine.
Jesus.
That's going to set your mind on fire.
I got to pull the arrows out of my back now. My God, it's like
Yeah.
I got such a hot stone.
can feel them from here.
God, yeah, it's like holy shit.
All right, Sal.
Okay, all right, gentlemen,
Take care.
Take care.
stay out of trouble.
You too.
It's always great talking to you.
All right. We'll see you soon.
All right, man, take it easy.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, man. Love that, man. I don't care what anybody says. I could just, if you ever meet him, if you're ever happy that, if you ever are lucky enough to meet him in person, he's just the sweetest
he's the
guy.
nicest guy in the world.
And he'll shoot the shit with you for
Yeah.
anything. And been very good to us over the years. And like I said, here we are almost like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Just talking to the guy, and I had a few ways to steer the conversation, but I just let him go.
Yeah. It's like changing the course of a mighty river.
Yeah.
Talking to
Yeah.
yourself.
It's not.
It's always best to just let it flow.
Yeah, not gonna happen. All right,
Where soars the guinea surfer?
that's right.
Next time he's going to go real quiet and so go, Letterman. Wait.
Right. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for us. And Shane, do you have the notes to go over at the very end?
You know
here?
I don't.
Well, we can sort
heavens.
of go by seat of our pants here. If you want to leave us an email, you can reach us at comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. You can leave us a voicemail. Number is 267 something. What is the number there, Shane?
267-702-6642. Stop by thecomicforums.vanillaforums.com and let us know what you think of all the craziness that's ensued on the Sal episode. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. We would like to thank everyone who contributes to the show. We appreciate it. Have they sent in more penultimate?
We are
Murder
down
the
to
Merds?
one. Murder the Murd in the
Okay.
queue. We need more.
We need at least a penultimate one. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.